the players want to do is to win. That is what they want to do. We'll see. We'll see if Shopify can get there this time around. Today, they are facing Tundra as their opening series here in Group B, and both Shopify and Tundra are in the unfortunate position of being 1 and 3 in the rankings, which is a little shaky. I do also have to be the bringer of unfortunate news, as Tundra will play this upcoming series with the stand-in. They'll have AUI play as their position 4, whereas Saxa unfortunately is ill and will stay home today. So, or rather at the hotel. So that is the situation of the day. We do know, luckily, they have had a lot of experience with AUI as position 4, as we saw them play with it during the Bali Major. I will say that AUI was mostly playing 5, with Snaking stepping up to play the 4, but they do mix it around a little bit. But we're going to talk about this matchup, all the nitty-gritty stuff of it. I'm joined by Purge, Lacoste, and Fear. Hey, Fear, how you doing?
Good, how about you? Just another day?
Just another day at the office, having a good time.
Good day at the
I
office.
love the black and red, dark blue and red color scheme.
Thank you.
It's good. It's like we have like all 4 different colors. We have 4 different colors. We got some green coming out of Lacoste.
Yeah, also green, no green screen behind, so you can actually see me. But yeah, very excited about some of the upcoming matchups that we have today.
Yeah, we got Purge still with us as well. Looking good too.
Oh, thank you.
It might.
I didn't know if that was coming all the way down.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it's been good Dodo so far. I'm just happy we are seeing some hero variety compared to the last tournament. Very pleased with that.
I will say, if you look at the list of heroes played this tournament, there's Rubik and Snapfire at the top, but everybody else is like, everybody gets picked. Almost everybody gets picked. Not everybody gets picked, but a lot of heroes get picked. So the variety's for sure there.
Yeah, but still 21 heroes are not being contested at all. Me and Feber, we were going through the list and like, yep, there's a reason why this hero belongs there. Yep, another one. And,
wait, I got a list here. Okay, when you say uncontested, I just have written on unpicked.
Yes.
Then why isn't Arc Warden or PA picked? Those were the ones that stood out to me.
Arc Warden will be picked eventually by BZM himself.
See.
At some point, he can't resist it.
I think PA has a bad win rate, I'm pretty sure.
Just a bad Dota hero right now.
The one that surprises me the most is Grimstroke. I mean, this hero is just in a really bad spot right now. This hero, like, his spells are not working after like the recent changes. He's just like not doing anything. Please buff it for, please.
I mean, if Beast Coast would have made it, we would have saw Grimstroke. That was like the only team picking that hero.
I mean, they made it look good at times as well, so we would have seen definitely a little bit of variety there. But we have a lot of variety regardless. We can also take a look at the variety of Group B, because that's where we're in right now, as we have 8 teams in Group B. We have in Group B the only team left undefeated, BB team. They'll play against Liquid during this one. We'll see if Liquid can make a dent in their armor, whereas there's also Team Secret, who is the only team that hasn't got a single win on the board, which is very unfortunate for them. They are going to try to change their fate against TSM today, as that is the opening series that they have. And we are focusing on the 2 teams above Team Secret, Tundra and Shopify, who are in a tough spot with the 1 and 3. We'll see where they are after this one. Of course, with the news that there will be a stand-in, they might have changed situations a little bit. But coming into this period, is it fair to say that Shopify, especially with the stand-in situation, is the favorite?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
I think at the Bali Major, they proved even with the stand-in, they could do really well. Both these teams are 1 and 3, but they both lost 0-2 to BB team. So they drew the other team they played. So it could be a pretty close matchup on paper. It should be. Sure, there is the stand-in situation. We'd love to see Tundra play with their full roster, but they've proved, you know, last tournament that they can play really well with AUI. They're well practiced in it. I don't think it's going to hurt them too much going into this particular series.
Yeah, I agree. Also, snaking, flexing between 4 and 5. You know, the man loves the farm, so playing that, because he started as a position 4 and then
3, then 4.
3, then 4. Yeah, you are right. But yeah, he loves the farm, loves to get the farm priority overall. So definitely they don't mind. And as you said, looking really good throughout the Bali Major, getting that 3rd place with a stand-in. So pretty good results. I would not be too worried about this standing situation.
That's good news for everyone involved. Now, I mean, AUI is also no stranger to playing on a stage, which is, of course, a little bit of a change-up as well, as still playing from the hotel room. So, no, we're just going to keep that just as is. And obviously, it's just it's a fact, can't change it, but it doesn't hurt the squad. So we will, do we even treat it as a standard situation.
Yeah. I mean, how many times can you say that you're a TI winning team, you got 5 TI winners, you get a sub, and you also get another TI winner to replace your roster?
They basically have a 6-man roster at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, the one downside that could happen, even though they're very talented, is that it could change some of their prep work, depending on when they found out that they would be subbing. Because, like, let's say, oh, we're going to open XYZ thing. Maybe they're not quite as comfortable on the same heroes if Snaking's playing 4 and AOI's playing 5. That could change things a little bit, but it's probably fine.
It's probably fine. When we focus on Shopify Rebellion, they're playing with their full roster. They're coming in here with a team that I think they have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, Fear, because I feel like this is a team that is supposed to do well every time. They're supposed to be a championship team, you know, they're supposed to grow throughout the tournaments and do better every time. We did see them go pretty far in Lima, but ever since it's just been, it's just not quite there.
Yeah, I mean, this team has had stable results getting top 3s at TIs for the longest time back when they're on EG. Since then, a couple bumps in the road, of course. Haven't really been able to fully just get back in the vehicle and be able to get to those top 3s. So if you are a fan of Rebellion, everyone's hoping that they get back into that form. But at this point, it's kind of like, when is it going to happen? Because I don't even know that myself. Every tournament they go to, they're looking a little shaky. They're supposed to be super strong at the beginning of the tournament, and then as the tournament comes later on, they kind of get figured out a little bit, then they start losing, but they've been looking shaking towards the beginning, and that's not good news if you're Rebellion fan.
It is not, and one of those players that definitely has been looking really hot most of the time, and we will be looking at him a lot as well during this series, is Abed, who we're going to learn a little bit more about.
My name is Abed Yusuf. I play for Team Shopify as a mid player. I think what sets me apart from different players was probably my in-game decision making and my calmness.
Abed is the quiet killer. This is a guy who I have been around in a lot of situations, and this man says absolutely nothing. Honestly, he should have the term nothing to say. He is just so incredibly quiet, but his performance is usually loud, and it's what gets Shopify through so many of their slower starts. He is the reason that they have any momentum in a game.
The most memorable game for me was probably TI6, I think. We were playing against Complexity, I think, and that's when I first got to play my Meepo against like some international teams.
At this point in his career, he may have spent nearly as much time in North America as he did in Southeast Asia, at least on Tier 1 teams, which is kind of a crazy thought. He was the shining star of Southeast Asia, and at this point, he is carrying the torch for North America, as all of Shopify Rebellion is. You know, no shade to TSM and Nouns, but Shopify has pretty much had to put the region on their back for quite a while now, and Abed has been instrumental in that.
I think he is kind of the same star player that he was going back 6 years ago. From his play, it seems like he has very little ego. He's willing to go out there and put his body on the line to be able to make things happen for Shopify Rebellion, and that's why he's a big driving force for that team.
It doesn't matter how good you are, you have to play with your team. And he's embraced that, which is kind of surprising for many of the players who you would consider to be the showstoppers, like the Sumails, the Miracles of the past, which Abed was very much in that camp. But they've had to repurpose themselves, and Abed's done a pretty good job at assimilating into a modern 2023 version of Dota.
What's my goal for this tournament? It's to win and nothing else.
The humble driving force of Shopify Rebellion there. Abed coming from the mid lane here. Shopify definitely Lacoste instrumental to the team.
Absolutely. I mean, he's been with the team for a really long time, and I don't see anything changing. Like, even if the results are not there, I don't see the Abed should be the one being replaced, because every single time I watch him play, it definitely looks like he delivers whatever it's needed from him. He's been stable for a really, really long time. I would compare him to Nisha, I would say, one of the most stable players that we have, because you know what you can expect from him, and you know the delivery is going to be there.
What's the most important thing that we should look at for this game, Purge, for Tundra Shopify?
I mean, the thing about Abed is that he is so good, but he doesn't I feel like he's not the absolute flashiest player, but he always plays at like the 95th percentile. But so I feel like what you need is that he's always going to be there, but you need the rest of his team to have some pop-off moments. And in the months where Shopify Rebellion did do really well at the start of the year, at Lima Major and Dream League Season 19, where they played amazing, it was Arteezy doing super well. And I actually was on his flight, the last leg on the way here, and he said he was really excited about this tournament. So I'm hoping for his sake that this is like one of those times that Arteezy has a great tournament.
How have we felt about this tournament? His performance in this tournament so far, Fear?
It's been okay, but I think the biggest problem that I've seen with Arteezy lately is he flips a switch. Like when he's playing like online or playing pubs, he plays a lot more confidence, but when he's in this team atmosphere, the LAN atmosphere, he's been playing a bit more conservative.
Okay.
And maybe it's the team decision, right? Like we need to do this, this, and this. They play a little more tense, I feel like, when they're playing these better teams. And I feel like Rebellion and Arteezy specifically, they just need to let loose a little bit. Just relax, enjoy the game again, have fun. I think they'd be much better in spot.
Yeah, there's always this pressure from the community. Whenever this team plays, you know, the thread is going to have the most comments for a good reason, because they have like a lot of fans all over the world. And I think I agree with the Fear, what he said. Also, like when it comes down to some of these like more important games on the stage, Arteezy does tend to farm a little bit more, just like loosen it up and you know, join some of these earlier fights.
It seems like something that you could fix potentially with, I don't know. It seems very popular nowadays. Esports psychologists, Purge, they're all over the place. I believe Shopify has one as well.
I actually don't know. I mean, maybe it could help, but for whatever reason, his performance is good, but not always the most blockbuster thing. And we felt some of the magic earlier, but hopefully it happens again.
Hopefully it does. We do know that Tundra has esports psychologists that they work with, and they've actually been pretty open as well on how to deal with everything you could cause.
Is your box okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, good.
I think.
It's all good. I want to talk a little bit about Faking, because obviously he's actually one of the OG players that's been around for forever and has changed so much since he started playing Dota 2, and I'm sure, Fear, you can write a whole book about that if you would need to. But how do you feel like he fell into this captain role that he has now?
Just experience, really. Like he's always been a player, when I played with him, that is very vocal. He wants to say his points. He just has had the problem when playing with certain players that he doesn't say it in the right way that people want it to be heard, right? But from I hear with this squad that the way he says things just works.
It just works. Let's see if it works in this series as well. The countdown is on, so we are very ready to welcome both Shopify Rebellion and Tundra Esports on stage.
Welcome everyone to this second series of the day here on the main stage, Riyadh Masters 2023.
حياكم الله اعزائنا المشاهدين في مباراتنا الثانية من مرحلة الجروب ستيج هنا في موسم الجيمرز في رياض ماسترز في عام 2023.
Now, Fancy, I don't know if you know this, but even though it's a Western European team going against a North American team, this may be the most North American flags I've seen between these two teams.
فعلا اعزائنا المشاهدين هذا الجيم مليء بلاعبين من شمال امريكا، وهذا هو الشيء اللي بيحمس صراحة، لأن اثنين من أحد من الفرق كانوا يلعبون في نورث أمريكا لفترة جدا طويلة، وراح نشهدهم اليوم ضد بعض.
Now, unfortunately, it is a bit situation that we're going to have a stand-in for one of the teams, but this is a team that did astonishingly well at the Bali Major.
اللي ما يعرف أعزائنا المشاهدين أحد الفريقين هذا كان من أفضل الناس المؤدين في البالي ميجر، أدائهم كان جدا متميز، لكن هالمرة هذه واحد منهم ما راح يكون متواجد من اللاعبين من أحد الفرق، راح نعلمكم كل شيء، بس خلونا نرحب بالفرق أول.
Let's take a look at who they are. Tundra Esports! While most teams may be thrown off balance by having a stand-in, In this situation, it's hard to consider AUI anything but a core member of this lineup.
تاندرا اي سبورتس الفائز الحالي في تي اي السنه هذه، لكن بنشوف وش اللي ممكن يقدمونه مع الروستر تشينج اللي صار في اخر لحظه. اي واي راح يكون متواجد، ساكسا ما راح يكون متواجد في هذه المباراه بحكم ان الكوتش بيكون موجود معهم، ودنا نشوف كيف بيكون اداؤه.
And they've already had some time here on the main stage, but their opponents, they don't.
تاندرا اي سبورتس ممكن يكون عندهم خبره في هذا المسرح، لكن خصمهم اول مره يظهر معنا، خلونا نتعرف عليهم اول. من شمال أمريكا Shopify Rebellion. فريق Shopify Rebellion ممكن يكون أول ظهور لهم على هذا المسرح، لكن هم حالياً اللي يحملون شعلة شمال أمريكا جايبينها هنا. في السنة الماضية كان هو أفضل فريق مقدم في جميع البطولات اللي حضروها من هذه المنطقة، لكن مع تواجد لاعبين زي آبت، زي أرتيزي، زي فلاي، وأيضاً كريت، حتى سيبر لايت، أكيد أن الفريق ما راح يكون متهاون في هذه المباراة.
It's North America's pride and joy, and while they've shown up to all of the majors, they haven't been able to be on stage in quite a while. Unfortunately, eliminations come a little bit too soon, but here, at this group stage, they're gonna have the opportunity to face off against Tundra in front of you guys right here.
من فترة جدا طويلة هذا الفريق ما تواجد في حدث لان البطولات، لكن الآن بيكون عندهم فرصة يثبتون أنفسهم قدام توندرا، قدام أحد اثنين منهم اللي متواجدين من نورث أمريكا أيضا، فيعرفون بعض كويس، ودنا نشوف ايش ممكن يقدمون ضد بعض.
Gentlemen, take your seats. Let's get this game number 1 underway.
على طول نبدأ في الجيم الأول من البست اوف 2 اللي راح تبدأ ما بين Tundra Esports وشوبيفاي ريبليون.
Thank you very much, Fancy and Tsunami, and indeed welcome to Tundra and Shopify Rebellion on that stage. And yeah, it has been a while. I do feel like both of these teams have had some opposite trajectories in 2023, where Shopify started the season out very strong. Of course, they came 4th in Lima, which was very good. They did also face Tundra a couple of times in Dream League Season 19, and it was actually Shopify that eliminated Tundra and left Tundra at 4th place, while Shopify went on to get 3rd that tournament. Ever since, Shopify is a little underperforming, whereas Tundra is seeming to ramp up to peak at exactly the right time at the Bali Major and at the Berlin Major. Both of these teams were in the same group and they both faced each other, and Tundra was victorious both times with a 2-0. I do wonder how things are going to be here, how things will play out, considering we all know that Shopify also has habits of peaking at the right time. The question is this the right time, Lacoste, or will you want to see them peak at the second day of group stages?
I mean,
Third.
When they were EG, you know, it's always been a bit of a slow start of the tournament, and then they ramp up this third day, always number 3 with this squad. It's implemented into the team, but I feel like they could do it. Not the easiest opponent for them, still favoring Tundra in this one, especially if the game slows down. If both teams are gonna play much more cautious, if they don't want to sometimes the game is like that, you know, 10 kills, 25 minutes into the game. This is where Tundra really shines. They're really masterminds when it comes down to slowing the game down and getting their opponents out-farmed, because we've seen it so many times. You know, people call their playstyle boring. It's just super efficient. It's nothing boring about it.
Yeah, Purge, we saw that yesterday against BB Team.
Yeah, but they did lose.
They did end up losing, but they tried so hard to hold.
They did. But watching any team against BB Team makes you look kind of weak. So I'm still mentally reeling from that a little bit. That I'm like, is Tundra that good? They looked kind of rough versus BB Team. Not necessarily the best comparison, but they should be able to bounce back. I don't know if Shopify Rebellion will look the most amazing, but we'll see. They also had to play BB Team. They have something in common, really. Both got thrashed.
Both got, both got 2-0 by
you don't wanna
BB team.
say-
I mean, I didn't want to say it too rude. I do think that when we saw Tundra, especially that first game, Tundra BB team was incredibly close. And I'm not entirely sure how close Shopify Rebellion versus BB team was. But I do think that Tundra has got that flair where they can bring it to late. Now here's the problem. We've always said, and I don't know how far this is still true, Fair, but Shopify Rebellion, the team, they do the laning stage so well. They are so good, and then they fall apart. Is that still the case?
At their core identity, yes. They've been doing that a little bit worse than they normally have, and that's why the results haven't been as good. They've been really, really good in the early game. Their mid game is fantastic. But if the gas ever stops, they don't get the Roshan, they don't go to the high ground around that 25, 35 minute mark. This is a team that has not been impressive in the late game. They seem to fall apart and be like, oh, well, our strategy didn't work. I guess there's always next game, you know? And they don't really put up much of a fight in the late games.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It does seem like, yeah, sometimes it's like they're setting up this like perfect chess move, and if they miss the one thing they were aiming for, they're like, okay, well.
Next game. Try again. I mean, that way you're going to lose out on quite some points in those group stages. We'll see if they can get points on the board right here. We are in the draft. We've got Tundra on the Radiant side with first pick, Dire side for Shopify Rebellion, and they get second pick. They ban out the Timber Saw. We get an Ember Spirit banned out very early on, and a fairly unusual ban, I'd say as well, Lacoste.
Yeah, definitely not the hero. Like, we see this hero being first phase. We see this hero being, picked up straight away, seeing it banned, but not in the first phase. It's just a respect ban towards Abed, and there it is, You're playing against Shopify Rebellion. You know that Storm's potentially coming out immediately.
Yeah, a lot of respect to the player, of course, we highlighted earlier. The tempo setter of Shopify, Abed. I mean, he can do that on other heroes as well, though.
He actually hasn't played either of those heroes this tournament.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, he's played Leshrac with the IO 2 times. Then he played a game of Pango, and he played a game of Mars. And their only win would be one of those IO Leshrac games that they did play, which is available right now in the pool. But Tundra surely know that's available in the pool.
Yeah.
They go for the Enigma, a hero that traditionally has been good versus any IO combination, really, just having that overwhelming team fight.
2 supports that I'm looking forward to seeing more at Riyadh Masters, and the games that I've watched, they looked extremely good. This is IO and Elder Titan. Like ET, like even in the previous series when OG played Taiga, like that play during Roshan, like whenever there's a big tournament, you know that some of these like big team fighters are gonna come back into the meta, and same goes for ET. He's like team fights plus ET, you can always count on them.
So we got the Rubik and the Snapfire, the 2 most picked heroes of the tournament.
Yep.
Being picked up by Shopify. I mean, what's that? The proof's in the pudding. Numbers don't lie, stats don't lie.
And even if it wasn't like the most picked heroes of the tournament, I'd be like, excellent response. You got Rubik against Black Hole, and you've got the flexibility of Snapfire in whatever role you want it in. So yeah, I think it's perfect opening for Shopify.
What do we think of the Pango? Because I think that's an unusual hero to pick right where they do it, because normally you'd pick something that you want to then protect with your next 3 bans, but does Pango really need that much protecting?
Yeah, you need a couple of those, but they already banned out a couple of bad matchups in the first phase, which is something that doesn't happen. Like, there's no Storm Ember bans. Usually these heroes tend to do extremely well in the lane against Pango, so you already got that covered. There's also like Puck option, a Bloodseeker that Purge mentioned. There are a couple of these heroes that Pango doesn't really like to play into, but you can make it work.
Yeah. But I think for Rebellion, they don't mind too much, because Snapfire is another one of those heroes that does extremely well versus Pango in the mid lane. So they've got that set up, and as you mentioned, they got the Rubik versus Enigma. They forego the whole strategy of Leshrac IO just to make sure they can get this Rubik, I think. And if you do go Rubik, I don't think there's any point of going for the Lesh at that point. So I do like this opening. And Snapfire, it's just been a monster of a hero at this tournament. Universal hero, goes in the mid lane, has extremely strong nukes for the early game, and then most of the time you see these heroes that have strong nukes, they kind of fall off into the late game. But thanks to Litter Shredder talent, she just transitions from being a beast in the early game to being a beast in the late game and just being a hard carry. And a lot of reason why this hero is so popular right now in the mid lane.
I don't even know if describing it as a beast is fair. It's more like cheese. Like, it's like, oh, you're playing some weird game mode where people get super... Like, the ability to like kill 3 heroes from full HP to 0 is like incredible. Like,
Yeah.
No, I think this is like one of the most fun heroes in Dota right now. Like ever since this hero has been added, just because, especially with the like recent changes to the talents and everything, so you can play like magic damage and then suddenly, bam, like you flip the switch. I'm a right clicker, so I think we need more of those like switch ups where with the talents, with some items that does make hero viable as a magic / right clicker in the late game.
Conceptually broken, though, I think.
Strong, yeah.
Especially because she's also a flex pick, too. There's so many reasons why this hero is just first faced.
With all the reasons you are mentioning, though, wouldn't you prefer to see it in the core role so you
I think so, yeah.
get it earlier to the point where you guys are saying that she is just a monster, a beast?
that's a good point. I don't think I've seen her played support,
It's been played a couple times, but
but it's probably like out of necessity, right?
Yeah.
In the draft.
I think the only thing that you do have to keep in mind when you do Snapfire Core is you're not going to have your traditional mid that's going to pick up runes and really rotate and make plays on the map. So you'll have to just, in your offlane, kind of make up for that empty space there.
If you want to protect Pango, maybe go for Mars. Mars Rubik's still a strong lane. I was not a big fan of Mars, like, I don't know, 2-3 months ago, but since a lot of these offlaners got nerfed, and, you know, ATF, again, coming back into the scene, showing that Mars is super viable and great against Pango. I think it just gives them overwhelming team fight. You'll have something to synergize with. Like, you'll always have, like, Arena plus Snapfire Kisses to play off with.
Drawban indicates some agi carry, probably TB.
They took a very long time to decide on that drawband, though.
Yeah. Do you just not instant pick Primal? No, because like the interaction still exists. If you pulverize Pango while he's rolling, it just takes him out of roll.
Really?
Yeah, it ends the roll. So you no longer get the magic immunity. You no longer can stun. It's something that feels pretty unplayable for the Pango. And that's what I think Mars did for a little bit too with the Arena, but I'm not. Did they fix that? I'm not entirely sure if that has been fixed.
I think they did fix that.
I think they fixed that one, and that's what ruins Pango's game. If you think of these heroes like Bloodseeker, things that don't allow him to use his role kind of like ruins the whole purpose of the hero.
So they picked the TB after all, which still looks fine. I mean, you have to worry about enchant stealing your illusions, I guess, so split pushing isn't necessarily guaranteed. And they are going to pivot the Enigma to a support.
I really like what Tundra is doing. So they covered some of the bases. Like you want to pick Phantom Lancer. We already have Pango for that, Darkseer as well. And then we pick Terrorblade. So thinking like 2 steps ahead, I would say, in this draft. So if you want to go for a hero like, I don't know,
it's going to alley the face of Void here, I think.
Probably. Like you need someone to hold them in place, because Rubik plus Enchantress, it's not a team fight. Like Rubik does provide some depending what he steals, but these heroes are very squishy.
Yeah. I think Faceless Void is just a no-brainer here. You're against the Darkseer. You have a Snapfire on your team, playing versus Pango, Enigma. He's actually one of the few heroes as well that can kill TB in the Chrono, especially if you get those late-game phases. But they're going to go for the Underlord instead, which means their carry pool is going to be limited even further. I don't feel like there's a lot of picks RTC has here that look really good. Very curious to see what they're going to try and do here. But the Underlord is good, too, in a game like this against the Terrorblade.
Yeah, lowers his damage, buys Crimson Guard. The roots are pretty effective against both Pango and Darkseer too, really, because you're getting a lot of like really inexpensive lockdown that can make it easier for your team to fight, and you can frontline too. So
yeah.
So some overall main carry damage potential from Shopify being banned with the Sven. Not really too worried about Darkseer. Can clear illusions, no problem. Would have been fine.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what other heroes he might want to play in a situation like this.
I mean, they need a lot of damage on Shopify. Obviously, these days you can wait for the Snap or the Enchantress to eventually do damage, but it's going to take a while. So they need something that does a lot early.
Maybe that's just their plan here in general, just turtle it up. Because when you have like Rubik and Underlord, you can kind of defend your towers for quite a while and buy time.
Yeah, but that's what I'm worried about, because Tundra, they're really like kings of the mid-late game fights, these drawn-out fights where they can reset multiple times. They're so good at it, and if they're the ones having a lead in the game, it doesn't feel like you're playing Dota. It's just gotta be, you know, fade bolting, as Fierce said, when it comes down to tier 3 towers, not getting too much farm. They're really good at controlling the map when they're ahead.
Yeah, I don't feel like you can rely on your carry almost always to be someone that helps you win the early mid game. I feel like they always need the freedom to be able to join fights that are good. Of course, you have to join the fights, but you shouldn't be necessary to make a move on the map. Because then all of a sudden you're not going to be able to hit your timings, you're going to be running around, and you're not going to get very farmed as well. So carries will always join the fights when needed, and when they hit their timings, they'll now like play as a group. But if they need something like that, which they kind of do, their four-man ball, as I like to call, it's not the strongest. You're not going to walk from lane to lane with these type of heroes and make something happen. And the Void got banned as expected. Sven could have been good as well, but what's even left at this point? I think Dusa could be okay, but you're versus Darkseer, so that doesn't feel great as well.
Yeah, as you said, they covered these bases. Like, you want to pick some strong carry, we're going to make Illusion out of it, have Reflection on top of it, always a threat of a Black Hole. What about some Morphling for Shopify Rebellion?
It's possible. I wonder if you could pivot the Enigma as an offlaner, if that does happen, though. But you have a Darkseer, I guess that's impossible. Yeah, I mean, it could be okay. We'll have to see, but I think Rebellion, this is a team that really enjoys last picking Arteezy pretty much under any cost. Hopefully it doesn't bite them for doing so, but we'll see what's available. Maybe he is confident that he has enough heroes that he can last pick something that is going to be really good for the game.
What about like Luna or something?
Into TB.
That's a classic Arteezy hero. I would not like it. It would fit the tempo of like, this is our timing, and we can just get our auras and try to end the game. But it'll put him on a huge timer, as Darkseer and TB are quite good against him.
Yeah, I suppose that's true, yeah.
Yeah, the high ground defense of Tundra is starting to look pretty scary. I think banking everything on an early timing seems risky. Maybe they want to take that risk.
Does indeed, and I think for Tundra, you probably just pick a position 4 here that can lane with the Darkseer. It makes the most sense to me.
They could use some more gank, maybe some like SB or something. That's not good against Underlord, but...
Bounty!
Okay. Pretty sick. This is a strong lane. Like, I always love when Darkseer is paired up with that. It's something that does have synergy in the lane, so you can, like, now if you pick a melee hero, it's gonna be a lot of pressure on you, and also Bounty Hunter, a hero that can easily snatch enemy XP runes, one of the better ones. So gotta be careful about that one, because if you end up with 2 supports like Rubik and Chantress being level 4, level 5, 12, 13 minutes into the game, you're gonna lose so much map advantage.
I mean, I hate to say it, it probably just has to be Medusa or Morph here. They're nerfed, they're still good enough.
Which one would be the lesser of the two evils?
I really think that we probably should see a Medusa. I do like the Medusa. But we'll have to see.
We'll have to wait and see. They got 35 seconds still left to decide on what hero they want Arteezy to play. So they can take they have the luxury of a little bit of time anyway. And they'll probably be discussing the same heroes.
But it is scary looking at Tundra's draft. Like, you have this Darkseer, you have this Bounty Hunter and Pango. They're going to be running at you. And I feel like the 4-man group from Tundra is a lot stronger than Shopify Rebellion's 4-man. And if you fall apart and then there's no map for Morph to farm, TB will have free farm. So the laning stage is going to be really important for here, especially for Abed and Saberlight.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan when you have last pick, where you have, you put yourself in a spot where you have extremely limited options. So they had like these 2, maybe even some like out-of-the-box third option to think about. But I don't know if Morphling can like carry this game. I think it's going to be a lot of on 2 supports that's going to rotate. So they need to like outnumber the opponents with the Fiend's Gate. First couple of rotations, 6 minutes in, try to make something happen on the mid lane, secure the tower. But overall, liking Tundra's draft. I think this type of a draft can easily run at them, especially with the Bounty Hunter. I know it's this time not Saksa playing it, but whenever they play with Bounty Hunter, they're so aggressive.
Yeah, it will be Snaking playing it this time around. AY, I don't think it's a surprise that he'll be the one playing the Enigma, the micro hero. Do we like that split? Do we like the Tundra's draft a little better because of it?
I like the overall draft of Tundra and what they're going for, but Rebellion's playing in a really Rebellion way. They're trying to win their lanes, so mid lane, Snap should win versus Pango. Underlord should win as well against the Terrorblade, so they can use that to just snowball the game by the auras, and Bounty doesn't like running into like these auras and Underlords. So if they can find a way to get through the laning stage, It could work, but I'm not sure who to go for. I'll probably go Tundra because I like the overall draft better.
I could definitely see Shopify going for pressure with the Fiend's Gate, like killing Darkseer multiple times. They have lots of different ways, removing Surge with Enchant or just chain stunning. Like they've got good options there at least.
Now, we did mention earlier that Abed is instrumental to Shopify, and he got the hero that we highlighted as well in Snapfire being able to turn into a monster later on. Shouldn't that also secure a little bit of a later game also for Shopify, or did they not have a chance purely due to Tundra's draft?
They definitely have a chance. I just think they don't have like good lockdown, so they're gonna have to play the game very instinctively on like finding these small openings instead of just having that big vacuum combination, the black hole. Pretty straightforward for Tundra.
Straightforward for Tundra?
Pretty much.
All right, well, we're going to find out how straightforward it will be for them, or maybe Shopify can turn the tides here that my panel has set for them and take game number 1. We're heading over to Cap and SVG to find out.
Straightforward, yes, when it comes to the draft, but for Tundra, this tournament has become a little bit more awkward. Avery, they've got a stand-in now, AY2000, who's going to be stepping in place for Soxa once again. Of course, he did that recently in the Bali Major, and they had pretty good results, but ultimately they weren't able to, be a top 2 team, which I think Tundra, you could argue this is a team that kind of should be looking at TI winners after all for a good reason. They're putting off an early blaze that'll get 9 a first blood here over Crit.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks you have to swap in for Soxa again. I think this was a tournament they were really looking forward to playing with everybody here. You're going to have to make do with what you have, which is, I guess, is another TI winner. So at least you have that going for you. I hope AUI is ready to play this time. I think in Bali, he said he didn't really want to play because he hadn't been playing pubs and he wasn't too used to, being a player instead of a coach. This time, I looked through his history. He has been playing pubs. He has been playing Enigma in pubs. So he should feel a bit more comfortable here. Maybe he was ready. He played some pubs this morning. They didn't go too well, but, he played them. So he got that going for you. And
he got his losses out of the way.
Yes. And I must say, honestly, the first blood to the Bounty Hunter lineup,
the battle begins.
That's just lazy. I'm gonna just call it, I don't know. I feel like this happens every pub I ever play versus Bounty Hunter. You go as 5 or you don't go out at all. Because the chances that he runs in and finds somebody with the blood grenade hit, it happens every single pub. Just guaranteed. I'll chat instantly, guys. No feed first blood to Bounty Hunter. In fact, a lot of those I played for Sox as Bounty Hunter. That's why it got so damn annoying. He first blooded my team like 4 times in a row. No wonder those guys rank 1 on 6 accounts. It's so broken. Anyway, they'll give it away, and that's a big kill to give away because it's giving it to 9 in a matchup that I think Snapfire would normally win. Instead, he's just going to have a super fast bottle here. I mean, he already has it. This just skews this matchup so much for Tundra, and they want the Pango to carry the bulk of the weight in the early game. They want 9 to be the tempo setter here with Darkseer shells going in with a fast defusal. It's going to cause problems for the Morphlane, problems for the supports in the fight. And the spell immunity, there aren't a lot of answers to it on Shopify's side. So if this Pango can control the pace of the game, Tundra are going to be really happy. It comes down to 9 in Snake King. And the flip side of that is, I'm looking at the supports for Shopify. How much do the Enchantress and the Rubik get done? I think Fly has honestly been playing better than I've seen him in a long time. Like, I feel like he's been the most consistent player on Shopify in this tournament in the last one, especially on the Enchantress. I mean, we saw that 4-position Naga from Arteezy yesterday. Maybe that's not where you want to be, but Fly was still having a tremendous game there.
He did have a great game.
So that's where I'm looking Shopify. Continue that momentum, win the lanes, snowball it into the mid-game, and play around the Snapfire. My one caveat here is the Abed Snapfire at Dream League was pretty hit or miss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
it was not one of his heroes.
Some of those games, like, they just crumbled, right? He was missing kisses. The spells weren't lining up.
Yep.
So I expect great things from Abed, as always. I think he's one of the best mids in the world. Hopefully, it looks a little better for him this time around on the Granny than it did at some of these previous tournaments.
Yeah, when they, we did that interview piece where we talked about some players and teams, and I wanted to talk about Abed because I feel like he is so instrumental to Shopify's success. And I think I agree with you. I think Abed is still one of the best mids in the world, but I do think that gap between him and the other mid laners, the other 16 mid laners at this tournament right now, I think it is much smaller than it's ever been. I think there's a lot more competition in this mid lane, and as a result, Abed hasn't gotten worse. He's still one of the best mids in the world, but I don't think he's not able to have the same kind of massive impact as he used to have, just because everybody else has kind of caught up to what he once was.
I mean, nothing's easy in Dota anymore. Every team has 5 good players on it. You're just going to have to outplay them, outthink them, whatever it is. Thinking will drop the fly as he continues his Enchantress dominance, man. He's just owning people with this hero.
I thought the Bounty Hunter was going to be good reaction to the Enchantress.
I mean, Bounty does not really beat the Ench on lane. It can be annoying. It can get some levels. You do have this Darkseer combination, but you always have a Purge. You went Nature's Attendants here for the extra heal, so you're never going to die on the Enchant. It can be an annoying matchup in the early game. I think it gets better when you're harassing jungle and you're taking these skirmish fights where Enchantress doesn't have the control for you. Like Bounty Hunter with boots, phase boots, drums, something like this is very annoying for Enchantress. Bounty Hunter with Windlace, not as problematic.
A lot of help here for 9.
Yeah,
off that death, he comes in, refills the bottle. They get the D wards, which is that money is given to 9. He was the one who dropped this entry in place, so they're really trying to help him out in this lane on top of the first blood that he already had. So they're trying to limit the impact of Abed in this lane. 33 is going to die though as a result of Snake King's absence.
If you can get this courier, it'll be worth. He misses the courier. There's so much net worth on that courier.
Yeah.
He got dragged into that fight. I honestly think Snake King should have just sacked it, gone for the courier, because he had knobs on it too. Fly getting a lot done here. Already level 3 3/4 here at 4 minutes. This is exactly what Shopify want to have happen. They want strong support so they can go to the Snapfire in this early mid game and really just pummel Tundra with the early spell damage here.
And finally get some hero kills, which they have been suffering. I mean, Shopify has not had a great time so far in day 1. Slow start as always, and Saberlight slowed down to a crawl here with the Malefice and Blood Grenade. So he'll die, but Abed's going to show up pre-level 6, a rotation out.
He was just getting the bounty rune, so he was there anyway. TP back doesn't cost him too much. Very nice little rotation from him. At least you're getting some XP back for your Rubik, which is pretty nice for crit.
We're seeing a lot more of those rotations, by the way. The mid laners going to the bounty rune, and they're just like, well, I'm halfway here already. Might as well check out what's going on in the side lane.
And Tundra were doing pretty well bottom. The CS doesn't reflect it, but they were burning a lot of regen out from that Underlord and creating a pretty large net worth gap.
33 gonna die again here. Still not picking up a level of Surge, as he would very likely pick it up at level 4. Final impetus shot is more than enough damage.
Fly. I feel like this is the one hero I would not give Shopify, because I just think Fly has been so overperforming on it. Anything else, and they lose so much tempo and control. He's already level 4.5.
Yeah, instead Tundra maybe fixated a little bit too much on Abed, banning both the Ember Spirit and the Storm Spirit as their openers.
That was a BM move for sure. Sent Bulba a message.
Well, it gives Abed a chance at redemption on the Snapfire and gives Fly his best hero right now.
And they'll make it work bottom again. They find Saberlight. A second death for him. He cannot get to this Vanguard. This Enigma lane is punishing the hell out of him. It's just going to be a straight Midas for Skeeter on this Terrorblade.
Oh, jump over to the side. Swashbuckle gets him away from that cookie attempt. And the Rolling Thunder is nailing him, but not bumping up to the high ground. So this is looking pretty good for a kill here. Should be able to secure it. All they need is another round of Swashbuckle, and oh, he managed to get a kill in return real quickly. 9 with the Ion Shell is going to push forward onto the support. Gets the kill on Fly. Crit will be the survivor here, but another great fight for Tundra. I mean, these trade-offs back and forth have got to be good, because we heard the panel talk about it. They were supposed to win the laning phase on the side of Shopify.
I don't know what you're supposed to do there if you're Abed. I mean, at this point, you're getting quad lane. 33 is not even laning top. That's a level 3-4 Darkseer going mid at 6 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, all you can say is I hope somebody's free farming, and I guess it is Artor free farming up here. This is a very tough Darkseer lane. Morphling Enchantress. You get your Shell purged, you get your Surge purged. You can't out-regen the Morphling here, and Arteezy's going to think about stealing Wisdom Rune, will not opt to go for it.
Dude, they so much pressure on mid lane. Like, they double sentry the lane, so there's no vision around. On top of the quad laning you're talking about it.
Give it up on top.
That's a lot of damage. 9 is going to pay it back into the side lanes here with this rotation, netting probably 2 kills as Saberlight can't get out of range of Skeeter.
I didn't think this Terrorblade Enigma lane would be able to be this aggressive, but new Malefice, they're making the meta really work on top of these reflections hurting.
Yeah.
And just continuing to bring the numbers. Tundra know where their kill opportunities are at. They're making the most of it. And this is boosting the net worth up a lot. It's also giving a lot of levels into the Enigma.
Abed's rotation going to be spotted here by the Bounty Hunter behind the tower.
This is a tower threatening push. You have to deal with this if you're Shopify. Still 4 heroes here, plus Eidolons, plus an early medallion from AUI. Decent value. Also, Abed just didn't get anything. He's had kisses up this entire time.
Yeah, he wanted to get something out of that bottom engagement, but rotation spotted.
The strength for Shopify is really when the Enchantress Rubik combined with the Sapphire. You need the levels for it. Another death on the supports.
No, not quite. The heal is going to keep him alive. 9 not wanting to use a Rolling Thunder for a 5 position like this. Oh, yeah, regen. Very nice.
All right, well, thank Gabe for that one. Bailed out 9's resource problems right now. Fight for the ward.
See if they can get the D ward. They get it. AUI in vain attempting to get the deny, but does set up 9. Potentially nice telekinesis. 9 can still go for these kills, though. AUI is going to die to the kisses. 9, meanwhile, let's see what he finds here. Fly is going to be spotted. Fly dodging him. 9 still gets it off the swashbuckle, though. And nobody's around for a punish.
I guess it's worth it. It still cost him his regen rune and a lot of resources. Another Rolling Thunder. At least Abed gets something out of that exchange. Still a pretty even game across the board because you got to remember this Morphling is just absolutely free farming it. He has been untouched, which means a lot of levels going into Arteezy right now. Tundra really needs some levels on this Bounty Hunter. That's the biggest thing for the lineup. This is not a support that you can let get stuck at the level 4 and 5. So Snaking's either going to have to find some kills or let his cores find some kills and piggyback.
Did they trade Wisdom Runes or anything? Like, I have to assume Snake, they definitely didn't get 2.
No, I think they got traded out.
Okay. Yeah, they did.
So he got some off that. It's just, this is where you get stuck as Bounty. Like, you don't have enough damage to contribute to get a big core kill. You also don't have the track, which helps your team take the fight. So
I almost wonder,
awkward.
33 picked up the Wisdom Rune. I think maybe the second experience went to AUI.
It might have actually, yes, because 33 needed it too. He basically got sacked in that off lane.
Right.
He was still finding some gold. He just couldn't enter the lane to get the levels.
Yeah. AUI pushes to level 6 where the Bounty Hunter is still level 4, so that has to be the case.
Yeah. AUI did get a bunch of kills bottom, which also helps Tundra here a lot. There's the type of kill that Snaking's looking for.
Yeah.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And I mean, there's a push going in mid for Shopify, but not much else. They're going to invade triangle. There's no stacks. This is one of those rare games where Tundra are not stacking camps, as they don't have the supports to do it.
That is true. Actually, still stacking more than Shopify, even though it's not, as you said,
ridiculous.
It's not a stacking game.
AUI idle on micro here, I guess. Though I consider that low stacks at 10 minutes for Tundra.
Yes, for Tundra would usually have like 10 stacks by now.
And another gank to bottom off a DD. Man, Saberlight is just, he's getting nothing. He's just food. This is just accelerating Skeeter. At this point, just stop going bottom. I mean, this is a Midas Terrorblade who's getting last hits on you with a level 1 meta. This is insane efficiency right now for Skeeter.
Hey, what do you think about this Hannah Midas? There's a little bit of talk about it on social media right now.
Is there? What does that mean?
Waga made a post about it, that's all.
Oh, okay.
You like the item for Terrorblade? We see Ramsey's the one who's actually been doing it the most. In fact, his last 3 games of Terrorblade, he's drafted Hannah Midas and has actually won 3 in a row.
Well, what did Waga say about it?
He said he hates it.
Goes down again. DD Rune has...
Dude, Saberlight is gonna TP in and die again. Please, help this guy out. They are gonna help him out. 9. He's not going to do enough damage to finish off Saberlight, but it looks like maybe everybody from Tundra might be able to get out. Skeeter is away from the kisses, out of range, and nobody else is nearby.
He'll live to use his Midas again in 15 seconds. I think the Midas is fine on certain heroes. I think other ones it's kind of overrated.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking about Midas on Terrorblade.
I think the Terrorblade one is okay if you have it very fast.
Okay.
The late Midas on Terrorblade I think is pretty underwhelming.
Okay.
For example, I think the late Midas on Slark is actually okay.
Okay.
Like I think Slark is a hero where if your lane's bad and you get a recovery Midas and it's later, I'm actually okay with that one. Because I don't think the hero has another viable pathway back into the game.
Sure.
Terrorblade, if you lose your lane, you're behind, and you go this late Midas, I think it doesn't help you. You don't hit anything faster. You can't take the fight. So when you're ahead on this hero with the Midas, yeah, this is what the net worth can look like, and then you're just an absolute beast. It ends up instantly paying off. The attack speed's good because you're a meta user. You're generally going to join the fights last, so losing a little EHP doesn't matter too much for the hero. You have insanely high armor regardless.
I think the experience is pretty decent for this hero.
Yep, the levels are also nice. That's the biggest thing. If the levels are good on the carry, then I'm kind of for it.
Yeah. One of the highest agility games. Crit? And Abed coming in with the Rod of Atos, holding him inside of the pit, so he's going to be stuck here for a while. 33, no longer having his surge. He's going to die. He turns around, throws what damage on he can on Saberlight. Saberlight, the Eidolons will not do enough to him. He's out.
I actually think if he just shelled and punched him, he would have got the kill.
Yeah, he might have. Arteezy trying to chase after him. Oh, stole the Rolling Thunder. That's going to be bad for somebody. It looks like they're going to go for Skeeter. Is the team able to follow this up?
Why not?
They're chasing after him, but they can't get close enough, just not fast.
I mean, you got to be careful with these roll-ins. You get hit 2 or 3 times by meta TB, you might just die. Still decent pressure. Tundra are exerting. They're not giving too much space for this Morphling to go to work. It's another tier 1 kill. These Eidolons from AUI have done work this game, as he already has a Solar Crest done. It's basically the same net worth as this Underlord. Tells you how that lane went. He's also the same level, by the way.
I like to see this. I think it fits AUI because it's a micro hero and it's a hero that gets farm from the 5 position, which, you know, it may be a long time since AUI has played professionally as a player full time, but back then he was a great 4 position for getting farm.
Yes, he's very efficient on the map. Snaking going to look for his Wisdom Rune and should get it here.
Sneaks it ahead. Arteezy, who's just a bit late.
That's huge value for the bounty.
Yeah.
Anytime this happens, I mean, even the levels on AUR, he's almost level 10, man. The spells on this hero are good now too, right? Those were the buffs to Enigma. Okay, your Eidolon's lost a little laning power, but your Malvis and Midnight Pulse are very influential in this game.
I'm very curious what that tip was from Abed to 9. Really wasn't much going on at that time.
Just burned his man out on mid. By the way, you look at the tier 1s for Tundra right now. They're all pretty damn healthy. And I think that speaks to how this early game did not go how Shopify wanted it to go, which was some lane domination with a strong Enchantress that could capitalize on all those levels Fly had to convert it into objectives in space. They're just kind of hitting a brick wall right now, and I think that's what the smoke is designed to do. Try and get an objective off a kill, open up the map, abuse the fact that Crit still has this Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, so that's a massive steal to have.
I don't think they're going to find anything here. Still, it will result in a tier 1, which is what they really want out of this move, and a deep ward. So it's not the worst smoke no matter what. You can also go through the gate.
Yeah, I was going to say, I almost feel like you're desperate enough to make a fight happen. You should go through the gate and see what you find.
I'm kind of down to just YOLO the gate here.
Yeah. I mean, use that Rolling Thunder, man.
I also think your late game is pretty spooky because of the Darkseer Morphling matchup. That was the downside of this Morphling pick. The lane's really good for him, but I think you're giving wall illusions away, which is what I think feels the best for Darkseer right now, is if you have good wall targets on top of everything else this hero provides, then you just feel amazing.
Sure. Makes the Aghanim Scepter like so much more effective as a build-up, which you want to get, but the illusions suck, like we had earlier we were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, he can have 2 Morphling illusions at some point in this game.
Yeah.
It's going to be devastating in the team fight. And he was thinking about the Ag. So 33, he's thinking about the Blink first, but I would not be surprised to see him pick that up later on. Quick smoke from Tundra looking at the Power Rune. They will secure it. That's a big one.
Running into a bunch of heroes, and Snaking does manage to get the hit stun off onto Fly. They're going to get that track kill. Will they be able to get anything else? Running after crits with the Surge on AUI. Swashbuckle trying to get crit away, but the Surge is high level. And AUI, oh no! Malphus misclick. Hit him with the Blood Grenade though. And that's gonna be enough with the Black Hole, that's for certain.
Well, that sends a message.
I mean, he was about to swashbuckle away, so.
Sure, I don't have anything against it. I think it just says Tundra are not too worried about this game going later, right?
Sure.
They don't feel like they need big fights out of their spells right now. They're just going to take these track kills on the map, continue to accelerate. And I kind of agree. Like, what's the BKB Black Hole cancel scheme outside of you steal it and turn it around, which I don't know how reliable it's going to be. Like, the team fight scale for Tundra is insane. The physical scale is going to be good because you're going to get the Morphling illusions. I guess you can steal them back with Enchanters. It gets a little weird. Still, I feel like most of this control, as we continue to scale, is in Tundra's hands, especially given the game state right now. We're going to have Bounty being able to play the map, produce a threat. Will Eidolons, Shells, and Illusions push all your waves in? This is just classic Tundra. You're not going to see a hero on these lanes. They're all going to be into you, and you're going to have to shove them back out, and who's doing that?
Anybody who does do that is susceptible to a gank, that's for sure.
Yeah, you show on a wave, you get tracked. Now Abed's tracked. The moves you can make at Shopify go out the window for another 45 seconds here. This type of gameplay is just very obnoxious. They have okay side lane wards. They just can't use them because they can't get these lanes out. Too much ghost push on this Tundra lineup. And it's built a decent lead so far, 6K. A lot of it's on this Enigma. Some of that's some extra track gold and the Midas from the Terrorblade. However, that Midas has paid off. He has decent levels here. Arteezy's still ahead of him, actually, with all that early solo XP.
It's also a pretty big difference between the two offlaners. 2,000 net worth difference between 33 and Saberlight.
Oh, I thought you meant Saberlight and AUI 2000. Look at how aggressively Snakey's playing. He's solo,
Riyadh with the kisses going down on him. They need this kill so badly. It's a track kill too. Are they not going to get it? Fade Bolt, is that going to be enough damage? It is just enough to get the kill because they were losing this fight on the other side of the map. So if you just let Snaking walk away with that, it would have felt so demoralizing. It already is demoralizing. You lost your carry.
He just got walked up Malefist and killed. I don't know if that's a kill that should happen. Tundra are going to get away with it and very happy with it. They get an Enchantress follow-up as well. Yeah, you definitely take that. I like the fact Snaking is playing aggressive on this map. It's just giving so much information for Tundra to work with right now. They're getting to steal Ancients, invade areas, play off aggressive wards. The vision mechanics in this game are abusing the hell out of the fact that Shopify do not have good lane shove right now. Cannot
nice aggressive mid lane ward gets Snaking. Another track that is going to stymie the Shopify heroes.
Like,
they were looking for an aggressive move.
What do you do to this bounty hunter right now? You don't have any control for him. You don't have a spear breaker. You don't have a 4 position who can gap close him. Your best option is stealing track and throwing it back, which Crit has. I mean, this is your best route to counteract it a bit. It's just you can't force the objectives. You are kind of stuck here for a little bit until you get maybe a Morphling item that allows you to fight.
I mean, presumably that's Aghanim Scepter, right? His next build up after Manta.
It's gotta be Ags. Maybe Scotty or Butterfly. You can hit some crazy power point with it. I just feel like it's gotta be the Ags. You steal the Terrorblade and you pray it's enough.
Aghanim Scepter done for the Darkseer. That is the scary part, is this Morphling is great as like an anti-carry to be able to take the damage away from the Terrorblade, but there are multiple damage threats, and Arteezy is going to find one of those damage threats, 33, giving him the punch. They're going to get a high ground ward here, so Shopify may think about turning and fighting.
Yeah, they're smoked around this gate.
Problem is they're tracked up on Saberlight, so Tundra well aware of what could be a turnaround here.
Yeah, 33 will use that wall illusion to farm some Ancients, why not? Efficiency in all things. Will we get both of these? Wow.
Damn.
I mean, that's just beautiful. I mean, not for the next guy who wants to farm that camp, but...
Yeah, it's true. It did leave just one creep behind.
For him, it was nice.
Skeeter's going to be like, who left one creep in a camp?
You think Skeeter is getting that Ancient priority?
Yeah, it's true.
I don't think Skeeter has seen his triangle camps in 4 years on this team.
He does play a lot of lane constantly.
Yeah, this guy's an illusion lane shover. It's 33 who farms at the most of the time. They're gonna get some tracks to start off this fight.
Rolling Thunder coming in through the side. Abed gonna be the target here. Being chain stunned up, not allowed to have too much impact, but they also don't really get a whole lot out of their other heroes either. Snaking a little bit far forward. Nice vacuum back and a knockout punch straight to the Morphling's dome.
What?
He is gone. Arteezy messed something up there. Kiss is going to be used. 9 gets away from the pit off the illusion, and nobody is dying on the side of Tundra. They're just going to run. Oh, nice vacuum steal. That was pretty cute.
Yeah, it is.
But cute doesn't win you fights, Avery.
Neither of them have teleport, so at least you got a double Clifteezy return. That's just a mismorph, honestly. I mean, the burst, the synchronization on the burst there was super nice from Tundra. Still, it was just a back into a swashbuckle with a punch, and your Morphling is gone. And that is a free farm morph that had basically an empty lane. You got to pay it back at some point here. It's just not connecting for Shopify outside of the cliff. Snaking still up there, thinking about. We'll eventually get Hurricane Pike down.
Watch that one again. Here comes the vacuum. Punch. Arteezy way too full-on agility.
It's just very aggressive here. It's also the gem on the Rubik, which I think got lost at the end of this. Yeah. That goes into AUI. That's a lot of gold that Crit purchased that, by the way. So that's a lot of gold just gone for your Rubik that just went straight into Tundra's hands.
Another free game for snaking in that regard. Like, he could just play super far forward, not having to worry about running into a gem.
That almost feels like the fight that Shopify just banked on winning, and if it went wrong, they're like, all right, this game is completely out of control. Because you buy gem this early and lose it, you have no map control, right?
Yep.
Absolutely gone.
And with a 15,000 net worth lead, Tundra are going to do Roshan. This game is well and truly in their hands. And I don't think it's going to be wrested away by Shopify anytime soon. It's going to be one of those rat and pray, but do you even feel good about late game?
No, I don't think
you even get there?
I think early Darkseer Ags makes your scaling very difficult here. Even if you get the items on the Morphling, it's just going to be turned around against him.
Yeah.
Gotta find some angle. Gotta find some catch. That is the obnoxious part about this bounty pick as well. It just makes your comeback more difficult because Snake can just run interference on your smokes. He can run interference on the map. Forces you to buy more detection, so it takes net worth away from the Shopify cores. I mean, look at where Crit is, man. This is not where Crit needs to be for this team to be successful. He's one of their biggest playmakers. You put him down here. I mean, what plays are you making, right? Yeah. Just tough position. And the auras are just continuing to build up here. You have a Bounty and an Enigma who are buying everything, so all three of your cores can just itemize greedy as the game continues. It's just going to be damage items coming out real fast here. And you're still looking for this. Oh, never mind. Okay, they got the tier 1s. I was about to say, Tundra didn't lose their tier 1s here.
Oh, yeah.
You just don't even have the split push option. Those did go down to some edge creeps and little split pushing action.
I mean, do you have the split push option?
Not really.
Even with the tier 1 towers down, with the bounty hunter constantly being a threat to set up on you.
You have the split push dream.
You have the suicide split push, which is what Fly's doing right now.
Pulling an AUI. He'll dust for the slowdown.
Yeah, slow him down. Use the enchant on the range creep, or some creep. Push the lane in.
Sad.
Very, very sad game for Shopify. This is going to be insanely demoralizing. After a rough day 1 to go into day 2, run into Tundra.
Just steals your rune in your face, hits you, steals more gold. Are you even going to kill him here? It's pretty tanky, man.
Yeah, he is a lot of farm at this point in time. It is not enough. Arteezy, another punch to the face. This time he will survive, goes over the cliff, turns into the Pango, swashbuckles downwards. They know where he's at, though. They're going to find him here in the corner.
He'll try to turn.
He's not going to be able to get out of here, and I think he knows it, too. That's why he was trying to go for the kill.
This is just a beatdown at this point.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're looking for on this map. I guess you're looking for Tundra to mess up, show somebody where they're not supposed to show. This is like another Abed Snapfire game. I feel like something just doesn't click for them with this hero. The way that early and mid-game transitions, it's not like those spirits. I feel like there's a reason Tundra banned Ember Storm first too. They're kind of sending a message to Shopify. If you don't have one of these two play creators on Abed, what are you doing?
I think I'm going to posture that it is the fact that Abed is able to play a lot more independent with those heroes, and Snapfire is a lot more dependent on you playing together with the team.
Maybe. I mean, the damage is a little lower, not by much. I don't know. It is very weird. I can't put a finger on it. Maybe it's just the fact that he can guarantee start the fights.
Yeah.
Like, who else is starting the fights for Shopify in this type of lineup if it's not Abed? You have two backline supports. You have an Underlord who you can waddle in the fight. He's not necessarily starting it. Morphling's just farming. Basically, just nothing's going to happen unless the Snapfire snowballs. The Entrome did not do enough for him, and now you're in a pickle as the high ground comes from that Midas up Terrorblade.
Yeah, let's not forget this was a Midas Terrorblade very early into the game. He's going to be fully 6-slotted if we get that far into the game, which is, I think, unlikely at this point.
Arteezy, I don't think you're coming back for this base defense outside of a box.
No, he
got put in the box.
He'll be shipped home. We'll see you in 45 seconds, Artur.
I mean, at least he's given some well plays, you know. It's like some high spirits here. I think.
He also used well played when he got one shot by the Darkseer earlier, so,
yeah, so like
I'm not sure if they're...
Well played, 33. I commend you on your high skill gameplay. I'm sure that's what he's thinking right now.
How much of Arteezy streams have you watched before?
How much of Arteezy's career have I been a part of is what you should be asking.
Yeah? Okay, so you're confidently going to tell me that Artur is very PMA right now about this game?
I don't think Artur tilts too much in the games.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's more like the... See, he's in a pretty good mood. It's more, you know, like 6 hours later tonight when they sit down and they're watching the replay. The beast comes out. The demand.
He's a replay beast, huh? Not a
yeah. He has one of those
tilter.
he has a classic pose, you know, it's like the hand to the forehead.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, what are we doing here, guys?
Guys.
But every Dota player has that. I think Shopify knows this game just got away from him. There's not much you can do. This type of lineup, you need to snowball it. You need to play out the lanes off the early spell damage you have. Otherwise, you're just throwing out some well plays. I mean, this is your desperation smoke right now.
That desperation, get to a high ground, hope that Tundra stumbles into you with the wrong heroes.
Well, they'll find the bounty hunter.
Yeah, they will find the bounty hunter.
Does have a 4-staff here. Okay, he's gone. Step number 1, kill snaking. Success.
Yep, they get that kill. That nets them
2.
1,000 gold. They just have to do that 24 more times to even out the game.
Run in, let AUI Black Hole so you can steal Black Hole. Well, actually found him on the
Yeah,
backside.
okay. Arteezy straight up goes for the Enigma first. Gets hit by the Darkseer. Not able to do too much. Uh-oh. 9 is going to be able to chain stun him here. Whiskeyter laying the damage in. Nobody is able to save him. He was in too deep, and they don't have saves. A stolen wall is going to help out against Skeeter here. Saberlight's going to turn around and fight as best he can for as long as he can. And that's it, GG. Honestly, not surprised at all they're going to call it here. As you said, desperation smoke.
Well, a valiant attempt to try and get something done in this game. That bounty hunter pick just caused them a world of pain as the second you start to lose those towers, you lose a little bit of map control. Snaking is just up in your grill, doesn't let you make smokes, doesn't let you come back. They even sacrificed their offlane basically completely, right? They just threw 33 up there. He was low level, level 3 or 4. He just went mid, made a play. I feel like that's kind of the small differences we saw in this game. Like when things don't go well for Tundra, they took those opportunities, transferred it, they go look for something to happen. Right? Yeah. Even if it's weird, even if it's unconventional, they make little things work for them. They get some stacks, they get some runes, they get these weird ganks. Shopify, that lane for Underlord basically went the same it went for 33, only Saberlight felt compelled to stay in that lane, and it just ended up accelerating Skeeter because Shopify don't want to go down there and play through the Underlord. They want to play through the Snapfire, only the Snapfire hasn't been that successful for them in that regard anyway. I feel like this is just back to the drawing board. Though we're so early in the tournament, I don't know if that's where you want to go.
Yeah.
I think you have, if you're Shopify, I think you have to sit down and decide, all right, let's pick one guy we're going to play through. I hope it's Abed.
I hope it's Abed too.
Let's have damage in that trio. Damage from the support so that these kill options are at least available, and then you can go from there.
Yeah. Unleash the beast. Give Abed as much opportunity to get kills, or things are going to look real bad in these mid games like they did in this game 1. Tundra taking it with ease.
Yeah, with quite some ease there. Indeed, we talked about this. Of course, we knew that Tundra going into this had a better draft, but we thought maybe Shopify Rebellion could get a little bit more out of the laning stage in particular, Fear.
That's what we're hoping for, at least, because that's the one thing that their draft had going for them. They're supposed to do well in the laning stage. However, this Underlord, it did not have a good laning stage. The Terrorblade bullied him super hard with Enigma. This is a first pick Enigma. He did super well in the laning stage. And outside of that, the Darkseer, they did a pretty good job shutting him down, I would say. That's the one lane that Rebellion did do well in. But that is the one lane that they had room to not do well in. I really felt like Abed had to have a good laning stage, and so did Saberlight. And 9 just took over in this game, simply put.
This mid lane, 9. I also like when Pangos, they feel like, it's a bit of a different item build, so you like skip the boots, you want to hit an earlier timing on your Diffusal Blade. He was all over the place, he did not die a single time this game, same goes for Skeeter. This game, just like 6 minutes into the game, we talked about the importance of it. Both supports from Shopify Rebellion decided to make a move, but they got way too many kills out of that rotation because their mid laner died, they lost another support, and then at least they picked up the first XP rune. After that, they kept losing all of these XP runes. We talked about the importance of the bounty hunter, what he wants to do in a game, being very annoying in your face, the way, like just this, because every single time I see Tundra play with bounty hunter, I know it's like a 30-35 minute max game pretty much.
Yeah, that kind of was true for this one as well. I mean, maybe it's a little bit too early, but I do want to go back to the draft a tiny bit, Purge, because of course those overall last pick go in the way of Shopify, and we said like, oh, it's great. That's what they like. They like having Arteezy on that overall last pick, and I remember Fear saying, well, I just hope it doesn't come back to bite them, and it kind of did.
Yeah, I mean, I think the safe lane was really the thing for them that went really, really well. The Terrorblade and the Enigma against the Underlord. I mean, Enigma got buffs recently. I know we've been seeing it flexing, but as a 5, it's quite good. The Malefice damage at level 1, it's 55 per tick. It used to be 40. So that means you're doing 165 damage with a level 1 spell. That's really high. And you're universal, so you just get Ironwood branches, and you hit for like 60 damage, which is a lot. And then the Terrorblade just like got 2 points in Reflection, and skilled at level 1 and level 3. So they were just using it to like make an aura from the Underlord and trade really, really effectively. So they just zoned him really effectively. He got Vanguard at like 8 minutes without boots. And then he just got the ultra free farm. He was like so confident in controlling the safe lane.
Yeah, and then we chose for STC play for this game. We chose basically a fight, Fear, that was the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, pretty much. And this particular fight here, like, we're gonna see at some point 9, he gets like one of the best rolls that you'll see in any Pango game whatsoever. He channels up the roll here, then you'll see the bowling pins here, boink boink. Get another one. He comes back, hits 3 heroes with this one, and they're already super far ahead, but when he's already having a performance like this and you're allowing Pango to get such a good like ultimate off, along with that they're falling on TV with the Metamorphosis. This is kind of like the pipes online. Everything's ready to go from Tundra here. They try their best. Abed tries to get the Mortimer's kisses off, but unfortunately, this is what I didn't like in the draft room. They don't have a setup for these Mortimer kisses. I really think the mistake for this in Rebellion was they didn't take the Faceless Void. They took the Underlord instead. Their 4-man ball was really weak. There was a Primal Beast available too. This hero completely shuts down Pango's role in the game. They didn't go for any of these options, and what do you know? Pango just went beyond godlike, had the freest game of his life. You cannot allow Pango to have a free game like that.
Yeah, I think they locked in way too much onto this Terrorblade, going for Underlord. You know, he's an aura buyer, having this Atrophy aura of his own. You did mention Primal Beast. I did mention Mars. I think both of these options would work out much better. Just to have hero that plays with the Snapfire, because that's definitely not Rubik. It's not Enchantress. Underlord doesn't provide you with much. 1 point in the Pit of Malice early on, and that's about it.
Yeah, a lot falling short here for Shopify, and we come to the conclusions on where they should have gone different. But I also know it's a little bit of a different story when you're in the seat yourself, Purge. During this time, do you feel like it will be Shopify that will come to the same conclusions that we did, or where do you think they will think the mistake was?
I ultimately think it was I really do think it was the offlane thing, because everything else is equal. I mean, I was watching the start of the game, and it was like Shopify was just ahead by 2K, and it was all accounted for in the Underlord versus the TB. Underlord was 1,000 behind, TB was ahead by 1,000. So they needed that lane to go better, simply put, and it didn't work out. The Enigma 5 actually was a big part of that, but so was the Terrorblade Reflection. You reflect the Underlord, you get the aura. Any trade is going to be better in that moment.
It seems maybe that indeed when the Underlord start getting picked, that was the pivotal moment in Shopify's draft. We're going to see, of course, what they come back with in game number 2. While this game was going on, though, there were a lot of different games going on. Let's take a look at how they are doing, because this is, of course, the time slot where we also mentioned our play of the day with BB Team and Team Liquid, where BB Team still is undefeated there in that first game. We'll see what happens with game number 2. However, we no longer have a team with 0 losses, Fear.
Yeah.
Team Secret got a win.
I mean, Team Secret won a game. However, TSM has drawed every game. So maybe TSM's we call it a curse, I guess, of drawing might continue here. Lily Seeker gets the win.
Well,
that's good.
I'm sure the spirits are very high with those players, and I'm wondering what the spirits are like with the players that are in their lounge right now with Jenkins.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this business, in this line of work, welcome back, by the way. But I'm learning you have to be very creative with how you get your interviews. So I've been looking around the venue, and I found some secret passages, such as this one. Stormstormer, let's do an interview right now.
What the fuck? Okay, I'm ready.
What has been your favorite game of the tournament so far, Stormstormer?
Holy shit, I don't know. Probably one of our games. I think our first game against Liquid, actually. That was a really good one. We stomped them. Hype Blitz.
Remember when you guys played the 2-hour game at TI?
Why is this so hectic? Holy shit. Yeah, I remember. It was the most hype game in my career.
Was that TI?
Yeah.
Because I feel like you guys have done a lot of very long games.
Yeah, it's kind of an entity nature, yeah. But the entity one again, the one on TI against RNG was the best one.
And what's your favorite thing about Riyadh so far? What are you enjoying about being here?
I don't know. The food is amazing, honestly, and it's just a completely different, like, I don't know, landscape and everything. Like, I think nothing compares to Middle East with all the, I guess, sand and stuff. So it's just nice to be. I just love seeing different places.
Yeah, it looks different, doesn't it? So you're watching the games today. What's the most hyped match of the day for you today?
Probably right now, Liquid against Bad Boom. I'm good friends with a lot of Liquid people, and Bad Boom is looking insanely good, but I still believe in Liquid as well. I think that series is really hype.
So I'm interrupting your most hyped match of the day is what you're saying?
Indeed you are.
Okay, that makes sense. Can you give me your best recipe for a dish that I can make for dinner?
Okay, pasta with salmon and some nice cream sauce and everything, and like good spices and all that shit. That's what I'm into.
Do you do a roux first?
A what?
You make a roux. It's where you put flour and then butter, and then you heat it up, and then you spin it, and then that way it makes the sauce thicker?
Sometimes. I mean, it depends on kind of like if you want it thicker or not, what you're feeling at the moment, but it's pretty nice, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to come to the secret passage with me?
Yeah, I mean, it looked a bit spicy, and I'm still a bit shocked, but we could try.
Okay. Come on in.
Holy shit. What the fuck?
And I think someone should get in touch with Stormstormer to find out if he's okay. We'll hear more from Jenkins, that's for sure, but I'm a little bit worried about Stormstormer over there. It is good to see him still in good spirits, of course, after getting eliminated, unfortunately, earlier on in the play-ins. These teams that we're watching right now, though, did not get eliminated. Better yet, they didn't even play yet for eliminations. This is the first time, or the first group stage that they're in here at Riyadh Masters. Tundra and Shopify, and these are the most important discussions that are being had right here, because this is where Bulba is trying really hard to get the team to reset. Fear, you've been probably in one of these talks at one point or another. What's he saying?
Yeah, I mean, definitely been in some, but like when he was coaching me, he wasn't at like the head of the team, right? Like he didn't have like all the voice, but he's probably just doing his best to point out what went wrong in the game, what we need to fix. It might look a little like harsh right now that he's just like saying things, but he's just trying to get the team back in the right spirits.
Yeah, we saw them smiling, so something is working over there. Let's find out if it works inside the game as well. The draft of game number 2 after a break.
The problem with the English language is that there aren't enough words to describe how unfunny and annoying Jenkins is. Pretty funny, but kind of a little offensive.
I think there are better analysts than Effie. Yeah, I agree. I'm a big Cinderin fan personally.
We are so lucky that FaceBeyond has such great English, so we can hear the insight of such an incredible player. Well, thank you, but I'm still learning, but thank you.
It's so impressive that Effie can do what she does on panel, while also taking care of her sister Jenkins, too. Yeah.
The only redeeming quality about Jenkins is that sometimes he knows when to stop talking when he's on a panel with people smarter than him. Thankfully, that's all the time. Everybody else is this bad? Come on.
The problem with FaceBeyond as a talent is that we don't get to see him play. I appreciate it, but I'm enjoying my life right now. Sorry about that.
Remember the time that Jenkins was on a team that performed well? No, me neither. He's always been absolute dog shit. Okay? Okay.
Effie starting as talent has single-handedly saved the Dota scene. My goodness. You're way too nice. Thank you.
There are better players than FaceBeyond. He's only won 1 TI. Sorry about that.
My daughter and I started watching Dota together, and you being on the panel helped inspire her to start playing herself. That makes me so happy to read. I wish her the best of luck in her games, and hopefully she'll be 7K or more soon. These aren't really mean at all. Are everyone's these nice?
Every panel that Jenkins appears on makes me sick. Oh, this one actually has a link to a twit longer. The thought of him causes me to literally vomit. I'm on my 5th keyboard this month. I will be suing this man if you can call him that. This has 40 more pages. I'm not reading this. I'm not reading this.
Snaking, snaking, snaking. Having played with basically every well-known North American player and in every role throughout the years, he's one of the most experienced players around. His journey into professional Dota 2 started with Bottom Bottom, a team containing both AUI 2000 as well as Fogged. They went on to become Dignitas with very moderate success. He later went on to play in a ridiculously long line of mostly NA stacks with basically every player you could imagine, such as PPD, Quinn, Eternal Envy, UR, and Zai. Despite this, he never quite found the success he was looking for until he crossed the pond and joined a little team called Tundra, originally as their position 4. They later made a roster change, replacing Fada with Soxa, and Snaking moving to position 5 and taking over the captain role. The team as we know it today was formed, and despite having some ups and downs, by the time TI 2022 rolled around, they really hit their stride and looked incredibly dominant throughout the whole tournament, ultimately taking home the victory over Team Secret. This made Snaking the oldest person to ever win a TI at the ancient age of 27.
Subtract 8.
I love subtracting 8.
Yeah, some math being done here. Wondering how old he was when he won TI 5 as we were getting ready, watching a couple of TI players inside of Tundra play some Dota 2. They're up against Shopify Rebellion, and of course Tundra now 1 game up. We're going to find out if Shopify has what it takes to take a game off of Tundra, who is playing with a stand-in. It is Saxa that had to sit out, and actually if you want more information you can find that on his social media, but he will not be playing for the rest of Riyadh Masters, and it will be AOI standing in for him for Tundra. But so far, I mean, their results speak for themselves. They had to play with stand-in as well in Bali. They came top 3 there, so they are not hindered at the moment from what it seems like, and definitely not in the series as they... Well, can we say they crushed it? They crushed it, Pert.
They definitely did, yeah. They did, yeah.
Yeah. Game number 2, though. Changes, Pert. What are they? What are they going to be?
I feel like banning Enigma in the first phase is genuinely fine, because it's there aren't that many flex picks right now. You remove the flex picks potential. It's a super solid 5. It gets more farm than usual. We know what AUI does with summon supports. He just like gets way more than he needs, than he should have. He had Solar Crest ultra fast that game as a 5. I think making him play a more standard hero is just going to put your team in a better game state.
Sounds very simple.
Sounds simple, yeah. I think where it took the wrong turn is when they like didn't address this Pango at all. Sure, you're playing at the Snapfire. Like on paper, you should be getting more, but these rotations coming up from 9 were really on point. I think, like, when we talk about Tundra, they're like, yeah, they like the farm, and sometimes it's going to take a lot of time for them to end the game, but Tundra, we're trying to step up. I think in the last, like, 2 major tournaments, they looked very impressive when it comes down to closing out some of these games early on.
It does indeed. This is a countdown for the draft of game number 2, so any kind of changes and discussions that the teams will have had will be put into practice right about now. And of course, I mean, we talk a lot about what Shopify should adapt and how they should play better and to try to make a comeback. The other side, though, Tundra is going to have discussions as well. They're going to try to predict what Shopify is trying to do and basically be 1 step ahead every step of the way. Both teams started this series out as a 1-3 in the Group B scores, which is not great. Tundra, of course, now already sitting at a 2-3, and as pointed out earlier, both of these squads have already played against BB Team, who is the most dominant team of Group B, so there's still very much more points to be earned throughout this group stage. And we're gonna have Shopify Rebellion on the Radiant side this time around with first pick, so they do not have overall last pick, which might be a blessing for them. Tundra will be Dire in second pick, and they'll start off banning out the same things. The biggest difference so far is that Shopify banned out they banned out no Timber and no Brood, as in they're still in. Enigma's still in, or so banned out as well as Batrider. We'll see if Storm gets banned here.
That means AUI has to play a new hero for the first time this tournament.
True.
Other than last game.
Sure. And they still ban out the same. Okay, so Brood and Timber, and Undying all in the pool, Snap in the pool too, but we mentioned earlier in the previous game, we mentioned the IO Lesh.
Yeah, and if the meta right now is IO Lesh, and if you steal the Lesh, they take Razor. So you can expect one or the other coming from Rebellion with this IO. But what if you take Lesh and Razor?
Whoa. That cannot be countered. They just call it right there.
Lesh without IO, is that Lesh or Razor without IO? Would you actually go for that? They'll actually go for something different altogether.
Yeah.
They don't go either.
Tundra, they just have like different way of thinking when it comes down to drafting, picking up Bloodseeker and Pango in the first phase, so protecting their Pangolier pick and also having Bloodseeker. One thing I really like when these Western European teams play Bloodseeker is how active the carry players are. You'll see them like having the same amount of assists as their position fours as mid laners, because they tend to join really early on.
And there's a couple cool things about this. First of all, their second pick, and they're picking both cores in the first phase. That's not very common for a second pick. And the fact that like Bloodseeker is typically, I would say, one of Skeeter's staples right now.
Yeah, it is.
So the fact that they got to pick it with the Pango, which protects the Pango in addition to that, is just really cool.
Yeah, it's because they know that Last Shark is coming, or Razor, similar archetype of heroes, right? Where they can, I think the Razor would have been better in this particular game, but I think Rebellion is a lot more comfortable with a Leshrac, and Rebellion's, they're in deep water right now. They're 1-5. If they lose this, they'll drop down to 1-6, and that is definitely not a spot you want to be in this group stage here. So hopefully the talk that Bulba had with them inspired them a little bit. At least they're getting some comfort. They have been practicing this. For them, it's going to be a do or die, make this happen. I think going into this pick, like sure, maybe they pre-countered the Leshrac, but we're just going to believe that this IO Leshrac is going to work, and for their sake, hopefully it does.
Yeah, 1-4, of course, with that. I lost just now.
Tundra Esports.
I want to see some strong.
Oh, was it 1-4? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you already called it 1-5.
I'm
you're
from the future,
one step
sorry.
ahead.
Uh-oh.
Not looking good for Shopify then. I want to see some strong position 5 paired up with this Bloodseeker. I am a big fan of Lich Bloodseeker lane. Like, it feels like a lot of the times this lane is just superior compared to off laners. Like, you also, just the Chain Frost to the tethered target, you know, the two heroes are going to be playing together. One of the reasons why I liked it, that they already played it a couple of times at Riyadh as well.
Definitely could be good, and a hero that has not been picked yet, and I know Shiver's a bit of an advocate for this hero.
Oh, I know which one, and I've been wondering that myself.
It's a strong laning partner for Bloodseeker.
Ancient Apparition!
That could be good. This is, normally you don't see these heroes picked very often because you generally have to first pick your supports, right, in most games. So whoever gets the later pick in the draft gets a bigger hero pool. So oftentimes we won't see a lot of these supports being picked because A is just not a first phase type of hero. But in a game like this, it could definitely work if they pick the right heroes around it. And if you are a Leshrac and an IO just trying to run in and there's an A with some stun, you just can't do that gameplay. You really, all you need to see at this point is Tundra is just who's in the off lane.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that maybe people will just not pick AA, and that means that he'll get a big buff, and that will be nice as well. So I was content. But it would be nice to see him in action. We'll see if it ends up fitting with anything that Tundra goes for. We've seen AA played a little bit during the Bali Major, but the only time that it was picked was only by PSG LGD and only when they had a Naga Siren, so they could set up for the cold feet in the lane.
Yeah.
So it was very specific, as we have quite a few offlaners removed by Shopify in the Darkseer, the Visage, and the Tidehunter as well.
Yeah, sometimes Bloodseeker is a flex pick for some of these teams, but 33, he doesn't like to play the hero. It's not his type of the hero. He likes to play these summons, something that can put a bit more pressure in the laning stage. He plays so much better when he's playing ahead, and Bloodseeker just doesn't fit his profile.
Yeah, I imagine 33 is one of those players that makes a custom grid of heroes.
Yeah.
Just has 10 heroes on there, and there's nothing else on there. Like, he just won't pick them. Tundra, probably going to pick up a support. They're going to go for the Enchantress. So most likely the AA Dream is dead here. Strong laner, though. Going to help their supports get out of the laning stage. And I think for AUI especially, this is going to be a comfort. He likes playing the Enigma. He'll like playing the Enchantress whenever it's in. He will definitely have a smaller hero pool, mainly because he wasn't preparing for this tournament, right? Yeah. He was preparing as a coach, but not as a player. So he's just going to go back to the heroes that he's just comfortable on.
You can't say that you didn't potentially see this coming, though, at this point. I mean, Legion, interesting pick.
I'm seeing the exact same draft as they played against TSM, same 3 openers. The next hero was Scarlet Mage, a little bit of a burst, synergizes nicely. So, because they needed some like relatively small cooldown, low cooldown ability that's going to keep them in place, because Leshrac, you know, he needs someone to go in for him. He doesn't want to just like run in as the first hero, even though you do have IO Bloodstone, so you're going to be super tanky, having a bit of a dispel mechanic as well from Legion Commander, because it worked out amazingly when they played against TSM.
Yeah, even like a Blade Mill duel, a Bloodseeker whose Blood Rage is like one of the most fun moments anyways. You're like, who's going to win? Who knows? Yeah, same draft, huh?
Yep.
That's the only game they won so far at Riyadh Masters, and they're like, it's the only formula we got. Better stick to it.
Yeah, either way, this series I think means a lot for Rebellion's confidence. Like, win or lose, this, if they win, they might just get on the right track, but I'm afraid if they lose this series, this isn't a team that bounces back very well. Let's just put it that way.
In the same vein of something we talked about before the draft started, I feel like Legion Sky, Io Lesh, those are pretty straightforward. Doesn't matter which stage of the game you're at, you always have something to do. You always have some like exact plan, because it's so cookie cutter what you're supposed to do with those heroes.
Yeah, they're super strong. Like, you can always play Dota with these heroes, which is the term I like to use, because even if you're having a bad time, you can always pick off heroes on the side lanes with the Blink Blade Mail, Scarlet Mage combo. It's also a setup for IO Relocate, so they can also like split the map if they find an opportunity, have good vision for it. Like, this type of a lineup also plays well from behind, so I don't mind it too much. But this, like, what they're looking for is to keep the tempo. Like, you want to stay ahead, get good out of the, good advantage out of the laning stage, and keep the ball rolling.
I kind of feel like Tundra needs a save at this point, considering it's the Legion in the sky, because I feel like if they can keep that one guy alive, they're going to be in a much better position. They also don't have very good lockdown outside of Pango roll, so there's definitely some weaknesses.
Some SD. Sneaking in, great against the duel, saving people, and also you drop that ulti on top of Leshrac.
Hey!
First showing.
First showing. Yeah, she has not been picked at all.
So she's a universal hero now, so stacking stats on her is fantastic. You can swap the guy that's ruptured to do tons of damage. You can protect the ally too, so it really does like both amplify what they want and also protect. Team Liquid was playing this a lot. At the end of the DPC, it didn't go so great, so they kind of gave up on it. But some teams see the value there. I mean, if you get the shard, that's pretty nice. You kind of want it anyways on bench. So there's good things, but generally she's not the best support. But I think she does fit here.
It could work, yeah. I mean, as you mentioned, not a conventional hero that we see very much. It does break the tether, especially if you rupture them, does a little bit more damage, isolates the Leshrac. If they can manage to stop the retether somehow, maybe that's Pango's job in this game. That could make it so they could kill the Leshrac quite easily. That's gonna be the goal here, I think, for Tundra. Laning stage-wise, I'm very curious on how they're going to do this. I mean, Swashbuckle, Wave of Terror is pretty good as well. It's a lot of extra bonus damage they can add. They're synergies. So Venge is definitely one of those picks where everything has to be in line, and it's looking like there's a good reason to pick it here. So interesting to see how it'll work out.
Yeah, they've ran it before a couple of times. I remember Saksa playing it. Also, they won that game, so we talked about, like, you know, Aghanim Scepter. Sometimes you need to act as a position 5 on this Wenge if things are not going correctly, where you're going to be swapping people out of trouble, dying, and then Enchantress takes over. A hero that scales extremely well when it comes down from position 5, where you're going to able to just separate the targets, Hurricane Pike eventually. I think this is going to be the name of the game for Tundra. Try to isolate one hero with Rupture, Swap, Swashbuckle, Rolling Thunder, instantly kill it. Because I've seen teams try to theory craft how to deal with this IO Lash. There's been a couple of good ideas, but I feel like just having someone that puts him out of the position and then focus him heavily, because other than that, there's no real saves. Sure, you have Relocate, press the attack, but it's not going to save you against Rupture and also breaking the tether. So I feel like what Tundra's has going on right now feels really good.
Do we think, because I think AUI might play this Venge too, as a 5, because we know Snaking can play Enchantress. He's their normal 5 player. And when I think of Bloodseeker, sure, Enchantress is great, but Venge works too, because you can get the stun so the Bloodrite can hit. That's totally fine there. And then Snaking can play a bit more aggressive in the off lane here and really help propel 33, whatever he wants to end up last picking here, win his lane even harder, potentially even destroy the lane, because Ench plus some last pick off laner could be quite strong.
I guess it's gonna mostly depend on what their comfort is with it, right?
Yeah.
We'll see what ends up happening with that. A lot of cores removed in the final stages of the draft. We got Terrorblade, Shadow Fiend removed on the side of Tundra, as we are most likely looking for a hero for Arteezy. And then a Lycan and Miko removed on the side of Shopify, as we're still looking for a hero for 33, which I feel obligatory to say that. Oh, never mind, I was blind. Brute is already banned out.
A lot of his heroes are banned.
A lot of his heroes are banned.
I mean, there's still hero that they played against DSM that is available. That's Naga Siren. If they need a little bit more reset, if they go with this swap into Rupture combo, could be an extra one. In terms of dealing with the illusions, you have Enchant, you have Bloodseeker who builds into Mjolnir, Pango, of course, with his Swashbuckle, Aghanim Scepter later on. But I've seen Naga Sirens also not being too afraid to be played into Pango's matchup. But they go with something more, I would say, earlier game oriented, some extra tower damage, a Deso builder that's going to open up the Roche. I like what Shopify Rebellion did in the second game. Already make some good adaptations to it. And this type of lineup doesn't rely on any cooldowns whatsoever to play the game, which I really like.
Yeah, they have to go, but the only downside is they don't have a lot of team fight either. And if they don't do on the lanes, you get 33 here. He gets to pick whatever he wants from the game now to counter this TA.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of physical burst from Shopify is the upside, but yeah, their kill potential is a little bit finicky. It's like, can you kill the guy that you duel at the start of the fight? Or is it like less stun Sky combo kind of thing? So I think TA is going to have to do a lot of work, but there are squishy targets on the Tundra side. You can kill Venge pretty easy, typically. You can dodge his stun, so it's not terrible. Doom is still available, Timber, now they're going to go Underlord.
This is also a statement. We'll show you how it's done. Last pick, Underlord. Yep. Aura Builder against all of this overwhelming magical, also physical damage coming out from Legion Commander and Templar Assassin. I like it. They can also try to match what Shopify Rebellion wants to do, split the map, get some of these gangs going with the duel, with the relocate as well, so you have Fiend's Gate to deal with that, to bring an extra number. I don't know, I'm feeling Shopify in this one.
I definitely am as well. The Underlord pick wasn't exactly what I was looking for. Looks like it's probably going to be an IO. Well, I'm not sure how they're going to lane it, but if they do IO-TA, Underlord doesn't really pressure very hard here, and TA is often picked against these heroes that reduce your base damage, because Refraction just gives you bonus damage on top of that, and these strength heroes have low armor. Meld's pretty good against that as well, so not sure if they're going to shut Arteezy down here.
Well, I will say that Arteezy is the one playing Leshrac in this game, as we saw him.
Oh, I see.
It happened in just the final seconds there with Templar Assassin for Abed. Does that change anything, or do we still feel like Shopify is going to get another win on the board here?
I mean, it feels like they don't have great solutions for TA then. TA is going to be over-leveled, should be able to pressure side lanes a little bit, show up +1 stun, definitely kill a support. So his rotations and farm speed might really be a lot.
Yep. And IO Lesh in the safe lane against Underlord, you can run these heroes down easily. You don't care too much because you have the speed, you have the sustain, you have the overwhelming damage to take him down. I even like this more, what they did just with the swapping the heroes around.
Yep. Either way, I think Rebellion look a lot better in this game, and I love the versatility that they're willing to swap things around a bit. That's a little different. I think they've been needing this for a while, so for their sake, it's got to work.
Yeah, this is going to be the mental win.
Yep.
For you. Yeah, okay, the Underlord overall last pick coming out from Tundra doesn't seem like it really convinced anybody. Isn't that supposed to be the gotcha pick, Purge?
I mean, it's supposed to. Yeah, the aura's not that great, but the auras you buy, those parts are really good. So he's got to get net worth and then protect his team.
Okay, so there's a lot of pressure on the Underlord for Tundra, or do you feel like the pressure lies elsewhere? We're also going to see our first Vengeful Spirit.
I mean, I think his lane is especially important because he's going to mitigate a lot of the kill potential. Venge can't swap everybody out of the fight. I think the other lanes will go well for Tundra, though.
All right, well, let's find out how things are going to play itself out, how the first Vengeful Spirit of Riyadh Masters is going to fare. We're heading over to Cap and SVG.
An important mental win for Shopify Rebellion on the schedule here, perhaps. But also, just a win in general is what they really need. A 1-4 score so far in this group stage. Shopify Rebellion have not impressed, but our panel is very hopeful off of both their draft and their role positions here, as they're going to be doing a Leshrac for Arteezy and actually giving Abed the Templar Assassin. Maybe not quite what I imagined, but breaking the mold a little bit is perhaps a sign of growth for Shopify.
Yeah, it was a very hopeful panel.
I imagine that my favorite pessimistic co-caster is not feeling the same.
No, I'm not as hopeful. There's a very weird conversation going on.
We bought 3, but we have 2 of what?
Apparently AOI said one of their sentries just bugged out and disappeared.
Huh.
And they're asking for a remake.
That is an interesting bug. Okay.
Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
They didn't, like, sell it?
The weird
Which
thing
would
is
still be there. It should refresh the shop. It's just weird to, like, straight up just buy it and it didn't do anything.
My guess is they tried to give it to somebody and it bugged out or something.
Or maybe somebody tried to buy it at the same time as somebody else.
I mean, the issue here is
bugged it out.
I think admins-wise, you're going to have to confirm that's actually what happened, right?
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you can do that unless we have a replay. Either way, they're going to have to figure it out. I mean, of course, this happens to AUI. So this is, everybody watching at home, this is your lesson of the day. If you are a Dota nerd and you abuse all this random small crap, well, guess what? It's going to come back to bite you. That's Gaben karma right there.
If you abuse Dota mechanics, the Dota mechanics will abuse you back.
Exactly. That is exactly how I would phrase it. You know what? I think they should play on. I think you should play on. This is what you get. This is what you deserve.
Let this be a lesson to you. While the admins are kinder than you, fortunately, for Tundra, and they're going to get their chance to be able to get 3 sentries. So that is going to be nice. So which does mean we're going to have a little bit of delay here, but we'll hope you stick with us. Of course, there are all of these other matches going on in this fantastic group stage. Actually, I just want to talk group stage in general. Is there anybody who you think has stood out so far, Avery? BBT.
For sure. I think they're just continuing to look super strong. Like, I feel like that team struggled so much at the early of the year that I still have this expectation it might go back to that form. But honestly, at this point, that team is just damn scary. Like, there's no way around it. Because they fixed a lot of their team communication, synergy, shot calling problems, and now you're just playing against a team with 5 ridiculously high-skilled players. You have arguably, who I think 2 of the best shot caller meta trendsetters in Nightfall and Pure on those silent. That's just a terrifying team.
Yeah.
I think Gaming have looked a little underwhelming compared to their winning 3 majors, though I think that team does ramp up as the tournament progresses, so I don't think they're looking bad by any means.
Yeah, they went 1-1 with Spirit, LGD, and EG.
Yes, so I think people are getting more used to what Gaming is doing and figuring them out a bit more, which I would expect. I mean, it's taken a damn long time, you know. You've had 3 majors to do it. Target on your back is tough. It is a hard position for them to be in to go into this tournament and the next one, right? So
some teams doing well that surprised me. Talon and Aster, which I've watched a bit of Aster. I haven't gotten to watch too many Talon
Yeah, they look
games.
good. Aster looked good, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those games are like some 60-70-minute games, whatever. You could say, well, that's a bit iffy. But those are games that Aster was losing at Bali or losing in the previous Dream
That's true.
League,
They're
and they clutched them out. I think that team looks a lot more balanced with Kaka. Not that Kaka is necessarily a stronger player than Maboka on paper in a vacuum. I think for what that team needed, which was something new and fresh because there was inner team turmoil. That helps. But also just, I think Kaka is he's just a more decisive player, if that makes sense. I think Bapoka's like a good shot caller and stuff. I think Kaka the guy's just a psycho, right? He just goes in. He's always going to initiate. He will always start a fight, and I think that is a nice player to have behind Sumail because
he'll thrive
Sumail
off of that
is
chaos.
also that type of player.
Sure.
So you need Slane to balance it out. Like, you don't want to be in these games where every single fight is on Sumail to initiate. You know, some fight, and the thing is, Sumail's a very aggressive initiator. I go back to TI7, 8, 9 era. He was one of these guys who was playing the Leshrac, the Tinies. He was one of the first guys who went this early blink on Leshrac.
Yeah.
There were games where he would just go Arcane Boots, blink Leshrac, and going in on you. Sumail is a killer. This guy likes to kill, he likes to slay, which a lot of times means he's starting the fights. There's a reason his Storm is super good. It's because the Storm is one of the best initiators in Dota. He will go in first. The downside is sometimes that jump goes wrong, or if his game is rough or he's not on one of those heroes, then what happens in your team? Do you have someone else to pick up that slack? I think Kaka reliably will always go in or make something happen if no one else is. So I think that is an interesting dynamic for them. That seems to be working out so far. It's impressed me.
I mean, I think it was notable the fact that Sumail in one of those post-game interviews talked about how there was all of a sudden a lot of communication on the team.
Yes.
Whereas
Kaka
before, it was tense silence.
I think Kaka is one of those guys who will drive your team forward in good and bad, right? Like, you win or lose, he's going to be yelling at you about something.
Sure.
And as long as you understand that he's a competitor, he wants to win, and he's trying to make your team better, if that's actually what's happening and he's not just toxic, then yeah, your team's going to improve. I relate that to Snake King, who I played with many, many years ago. He had a similar idea. Snake King's the type of player who will always push your team forward.
Yep.
And make sure people are on their stuff, know what they're doing, that, again, win or loss, you're drawing something out of the game. And yeah, he will cause conflict, but conflict is necessary in a competitive environment to push you to the next level. And having that type of player on your team is incredibly valuable. I think that's what Snake King can do for Tundra. I think it's something Kaka can do for Aster.
Yep.
And I think it's something where if you don't necessarily have that on your team, you got to look at yourselves and be, well, where's that going to come from? It can come from motivational factors like a great coach or a leader or captain. It can also just come innately through the players, but it has to come from somewhere. Otherwise, you become complacent, you become stagnant, and you just do the same thing over and over.
Other teams that have done pretty well, EG, Quest, I think neither one of those are surprising. Extreme, though, Paparazzi popping off here in Riyadh has done a lot to carry them. But it does look like we're going to be heading back into the game of Shopify Rebellion versus Tundra Game 2, where we have two sentries and the third on Snake.
There it is. We got it there, boys. Eventually, in the end, we're going to see if the smoke works the second time.
Smoke breaks right as they approach the high ground, and now Shopify have full idea of what's going on here. They caught a glimpse of it, and
they do see up the hill.
Tundra will get a similar amount of information thanks to that high ground ward.
Yeah, they don't want to invade. I don't think their invasion up a hill is honestly that good.
No.
Their level 1 is pretty bad here. It's one of the downsides of Venge. The very early levels for this hero are a little lackluster.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Venge. I mean, this is a game where you could get a lot with it. If you break the tether and get the rupture damage on it, then maybe the swap is going to be useful, but I always got a question of Venge pick. That hero has been pretty bad for a pretty long time.
Okay, the upside here of the pick, though, is it kind of has a free lane, because Io is not doing anything to stop the Venge on the lane, right? I think this is a lane that 33 will free farm despite the Venge pick maybe being a little weaker. And therefore, you're just picking it for the game. And what it does for you in the game is very interesting, like you said. If you can get the Rupture swap, if you can break a tether, you can burst this Leshrac. It gives you a lot of extra physical burst damage with the minus armor plus the Vengeance aura. And the scale can be significant. The Ags, the Shard on this hero are both incredibly powerful if you can get to those items.
I don't know. I feel like my read of this lane is it's a free lane for Leshrac, and he's going to abuse them for it. Even if the Io isn't the most offensive hero, Leshrac is.
I think you just stand your ground and fight them in a Firestorm. I don't know if this lane's that scary.
Okay.
I wouldn't be scared. Now, they kind of got abused in the early regen trade past the wave. This is something Arteezy is known for.
Yeah, they're giving up CS in order to try and get first blood, and they do get it for Fly.
I think this was just misread by Tundra, and honestly, a good heads-up play by Arteezy. This is one of his signature laning moves. If you're not familiar with it, it catches you off guard, and here it's just straight up winning them the lane. I don't think that level 1 trade is bad for Tundra. Like, you got to remember, Io doesn't have a spell, right? If you both just stand there and Firestorm stun, you hit the Leshrac. I don't think you're getting forced off the early waves. And like you were seeing a lot of damage. You just have to be in a position where you can take that man fight, and Tundra just getting caught off guard in the regen. Early laning phase dominance going Shopify's way. This is what they wanted last game. Look at some of it here.
Yeah, what about this matchup? We see, ooh, Abed. He is putting the screws to 9 here.
Yeah, this is the other upside. You put that TA into mid. It is a matchup I think Abed's very confident winning.
Is it that much better, the matchup, than having the Lesh track?
I mean, the Lesh will still win it. I think the TA, there's room where you can just annihilate it. If you hit the early melds, it gets out of control. I think that's what Shopify are looking for, right? Shopify are always going to play to the upper echelons of lane domination.
Yeah, sure. And this is another lane that you could certainly dominate. And if you dominate this lane, it's going to be so much better for you. Not only are you trying to shut down a Bloodseeker, but also Skywrath Mage, and Legion Commander.
Mad Max, witness me.
If those two get off to a good start, they're going to run around killing people. They are going to get into a bit of a brawl here. Crit is able to get away with his high movement speed, though.
Gotta respect this Blood Grenade chase down, especially when AUI hits level 2 up here, as he's still level 1, had to take the heal. I mean, this is one of the ways you can play this Skywrath matchup, just get Nature's Attendance early, wear out his mana.
Thing to note is we've seen a lot of Bloodseekers, and I feel like every single time we see it, the lanes are being won by the Bloodseeker team. But you've got Io Leshrac, who should remain pretty healthy all the time, so you're not going to get those big thirst stacks. Not early on, I think.
Shopify have won these early waves down here so hard. They have just set themselves up tremendously in this game off of this lane alone, right? Because you're getting full wand charges on both these heroes down here, and traditionally the weak point of Io is the level 1 and 2. I think when you get to 3 and 5, this hero can start to favor it a bit more. So the fact that Shopify are doing this well in their safe lane this early is a really good sign for them.
And if you win the lane to get the Lotus, then you've got even more of a lead on this lane.
Exactly what happened. So they're cruising down here, taking full advantage of this Venge pick, abusing them early, especially Tundra not getting that first blood like they did in game 1. Things looking up. See if they can continue propelling that momentum here. They can get some good stacks for the TA and the Legion off of this start. For the TA and the Lesh off this start, they're going to be really happy with that. Because I do think the mid-game fights can be hard. Like, you go in with this Legion dual Skywrath ult and you swap that guy. What happens after that, right? You kind of need a net worth advantage on Shopify so you can just push through that and just take the fight to the Tundra cores, wear through the Underlord who, you know, he's still having a fairly good start here, all things considered.
Yeah.
And he's going to be tanky. He's going to be a tanky boy this game. If he gets to pipe Crimson, that is not an easy target for Shopify to just go into and bring down, unless your TA is strong enough to jump in.
Good read. 9 knowing that Abed was going to cut him off of the other Water Rune. He TP's back and goes for the top Water Rune instead, getting some much-needed refills on his bottle after claiming the Bounty Rune as well to help out on a lane that is being crushed. He's 14-0 on the Pango. Going for it. Turnaround. Okay.
Yeah,
they have definitely made
happen.
way too much of their aggression here. Maybe that early abuse they put in got them a little bit headstrong here and fighting Tundra. 33 fights back, gets some pretty good trade-off, but maybe this is still going to be okay here. Land the split Earth. 33 with snaking around. Might be able to get this kill. Fight back underneath the Firestorm. They don't want to keep chasing after him. Fly. Gonna try and get that last hit. Can't quite get it. Turn the Magic Missile back over onto Arteezy. Put some damage out. The Lightning does not bounce to 33.
A dangerous fight if you give up that Lesh kill, especially with double Null Wand invested for Artor here. But they will send 33 to base. Continue their free farming spree. Lotus definitely paid off in that exchange.
Oh yeah, seriously.
All these little things adding up, and it's given Shopify a pretty decent laning phase here. You're just basically trying to survive mid with 9 at this point. You are behind almost a full level. TA is taking advantage of that, and Crit has done a very nice job combating the early Enchantress here. AUI is still not level 3. That just feels bad, because you're missing all of this creep window to try and potentially abuse Saberlight here with your Bloodseeker, who all that trading has powered Skeeter up, right? He's getting a lot of move speed off that, which is pretty damn nice for them, as our room has gone completely dark.
Yeah, apologies everyone. We're going to give the commentary a little bit of a rest here. Hopefully you're able to
somebody
still
just cast
enjoy the
darkness on us.
The game.
Do you remember that old spell?
I do remember.
That was a great spell. Help. Help. Ah, it appears in the building. We still have comms though. That's the crazy part. Okay, Cap, cast by sound only. Go.
All right. Got TA traps going out. Looks like Templar Assassin looking for some damage onto the Pango. Swashbuckle over to the side somewhere. Chasing after him. Shield crash.
Shield crash?
Shield crash.
That was a shield crash. Chantress
they're really going back and forth in this.
Yeah, I mean, this skirmish is absolutely insane, right?
Yeah, this is crazy.
There's people dying all over.
It's probably
the place.
just them CSing and just.
Oh, there's flashlights in the hallway now. Whoa. Yeah, we are absolutely okay. A little clapping, a little taunting. Man, this darkness, it's brutal.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Wow, isn't Dota so pleasant? These nice little ASMR sound effects here as we enjoy the quiet ramp up of this game. Oh, nice Venge stun into the Rupture. They're going to try and turn this.
Do we have swap up yet? I don't think he's level 6.
Going to try and stand his ground with the Legion. But the Legion will go down as the Flayed Twins claim Saberlight on that top lane. This is what I assume is happening, though I cannot know. It's just like Jedi mind trick.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Feel the game, feel it flow
Radiant's
through
top
you.
tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
How long is the delay?
The delay is long. I thought of that, my friend. I thought of that one.
What need have I?
What do you think about that Bloodseeker Pango opener? Do you enjoy it there? Think it's a good strategic idea?
It's a good way to force fights if you want to be aggressive, like Pango's trying to do now.
That is true. Rolling Thunder coming through for 9 here. He'll clean him up with the Swashbuckle. Man, this game sounds like it's going great for Tundra right now.
All right, here we go, here we go, here we go.
Oh, do we have a live feed?
We got a live feed from JJ. All right.
Oh, this is... Are we back? This must be the weirdest cast of all time. I cannot imagine people understanding what the hell is going on, but...
All right, I think we got some on-the-fly, impromptu saving here. Looks like we're gonna have our Leshrac going in. Arteezy trying to chase after 33. Gonna chase him into the river with Crit coming in from the other side. They will easily get that kill, but they do have the Rupture on out. Snaking, gonna play the distance, see if he can stop that TP. He does with a magic missile, stops him. A little bit of heals where he can, but of course Skeeter easily cleans this fight up.
Can't just TP. Sometimes you can just TP there. You can't just TP. The Venge pick is just too nasty here. He's even maxing the stun. This is some early spell damage you might not expect, and this game might just be coming down to how much farm Abed can get off of this mid abuse.
Big damage. Abed is getting fat here.
Yeah,
it looks like he took that tower. He's taking the Pango's life.
Taking everything.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Maybe
attack.
he took our power away too.
He's like, I need more power.
He needs the juice. He's getting it all.
Dire's middle tower is
So
under
he went up to Phase Boots Chainmail, just trying to max the armor up here. Try and win those man fights as Tundra will shift their Unlord top to defend the tower.
Yeah, I mean, he just can't keep going to that bottom lane anymore. That ILS seems to be too strong.
Send Arteezy back to base, but he's going to run out very swiftly here. Went for the early mask, too, to get the spell lifesteal. Very interesting build. I kind of would have expected more of either some of the boosters early on. Just up the HP.
Yeah.
Still, it's going to give him a little extra EHP here. And, of course, the biggest question in this game is, can your Leshrac survive when you run him in like this?
Man, they're really chasing deep to get this Snake King kill. They'll get it. I guess they just feel like there's nobody else around to respond.
Also, 2-2-2 build here for the safe lane Lesh. Splitting the wickets, getting a little bit of everything. Just looking up the tempo as the kills continue.
Yeah, with the relocate coming in, is that silence going to last long enough? It looks like they've got him. Double kill for Arteezy as Shopify beginning to pick up the pace a little bit. I mean, we said this is what they were looking for before, right? Win the lanes, build off of that momentum-wise.
Exactly. if you can start getting some dual wins off of this as well with the reload setup, you're going to be super happy.
Dire's bottom tower is
And I'm kind of expecting them to continue the momentum, continue the pace, set up more damage here, level up the spells, level up the nukes, and just take it to Tundra here, because their ability to fight back is pretty much based on rupturing somebody and being able to go in and match the damage output, which right now is just not being matched. Skywrath is overwhelming Tundra during this period. The Enchantress Venge not offering the same. You do have a Maelstrom on Skeeter here, so they're going to try and bring him into the fight, use him to try and turn some of this momentum.
But if they don't, if like they beat into this fight and it doesn't actually work for them, I feel like they're just completely out of the game. And
well, I wouldn't say they're completely.
I mean, their lineup is pretty fight heavy. If you don't win fights, I'm not sure what you do. They're going to go for crit here. RTC. Meanwhile, the Rupture over there on the side.
Nice stun.
They're trying to stall up Abed as much as possible while the Leshrac is going to run towards that back line. The Bloodright looking to be able to silence him as best as possible. They just have to back away from the Leshrac. He's just too powerful right now. Playing the distance, Rolling Thunder, going to leave on out. 9 creates the space for the rest of the team to be able to back away.
I mean, this is the issue. The sustain, you just sit there. Okay, you rupture us. So what? What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
We're just going to sit here, and you don't have too much damage to throw in if you can't get some crazy swap combo off. Even if you can, it might not be enough for Skeeter to get in there and take that man-up fight. If you can get some more sustain on right now, you get to this Bloodstone, you get to like a TA, BKB, or just higher refraction levels, you're going to be really happy just taking these fights, forcing an early Roshan. Of course, if you get early Aegises in this game as Shopify, then you're cruising, because this Tundra lineup does not deal well with the second life. And another relocate for another Snake King kill. This mid lane is a death trap right now, quite literally with the TA traps. That's also another factor. You get that TA shard online, some extra silences to throw in here at the start of those fights that Tundra are going to have an issue getting over to start the engagement. You're really happy in this game. Mech coming online soon.
Yeah, you're just walking along trying to farm up a side lane. All of a sudden, a TA trap procs on you. You're slowed down. Your silence or relocate is on top of you.
Blade Mail up for Saberlight. Even more damage, more stand your ground power versus Bloodseeker.
I'm surprised he didn't go for fast Blink Dagger in a game like this.
Got the blink on the TA. So
that's true. I guess I would have
amp it all up.
I guess I would have assumed in this game you go Blink Dagger Legion and then you let Abed play for more of like the buildup of carry damage.
I think there's a route there. I think part of this Legion pick is also to go behind the two other cores. Not necessarily have to be the guy
damage is immense, so they're going to be able to get the easy dual win as Saberlight sandwiches him from the other side.
Now you're getting dual damage on top of this early momentum. This feels super nice. Tundra's still looking for answers. Looking for some towers of their own. As this Enchantress early game did not pan out.
Yeah, they are just running down Tundra heroes constantly. You just put a little aggression on them, they have to rupture defensively. Now you're just...
Mercy.
He gets away ever so barely.
That's Bloodstone done, by the way, with double null. Oof. More sustain coming through.
I mean, you're not going to be able to do enough burst damage. You can't convince me you can do that. With these heroes, the best burst you have is Rupture Swap.
I mean, you'd have to Rupture, swap them in, then somehow like re-break the second tether, deal with the Bloodstone heal. Artur would really have to overextend here to die somehow.
Yeah.
And he knows it, so he's playing aggressive. He's stealing their stacks. This is the Tundra stacking, not going their way. As 3K gold lead for Shopify, their cores are looking in a very solid spot. And of course, 9, he is just struggling to find anything this game. It started with the lane. It's going into the mid game. This Pango has backfired. He does not have great supports to play with either. I mean, throwing out a Venge Nuke plus a Swashbuckle is cute, but it's not the same at this point as when you're ahead. Ambitious duel. Will they get it?
Oh no! Just like what?
Well,
Less than 50 HP away from being able to win a duel, and they're not even going to get the kill as a result. AUI making space where he can.
Yeah, I think he was going to go and cut the next wave. That would have been the ultra PM move.
Yeah, seriously. That would have been great. I wish he did that now.
Still, this game is looking recoverable for Tundra. I mean, considering how much early kill action Shopify found, the lead is not that big, right? You did get some stacks for Skeeter here, who's still finding some damage. He's just going Maelstrom into the Manta, so he's got to be pretty happy with this overall, considering the state of the game, right? And it's Arteezy. He's going to continue to be aggressive. That's looking like a staff for Yules, right? What else would it be? I guess you can go Kaya here. Never mind.
Yeah, Kaya Yasha, Kaya Sanj.
Actually, not sure which one I would want to
defusal.
see. They're going to go for it. See if they can burst him down, but the Bloodstone is going to work, and they have the heals from the IO as well. They just do not have enough, and the rest of Shopify Rebellion are going to come in soon. Arteezy might die. The question is, ooh, the relocate just really late there from Fly.
Okay, I might have cursed the hell out of him right there.
Yeah, I mean, I did too, to be fair.
That's a little too aggressive, you know? 5 heroes from Tundra waiting for him to walk up the hill, and the reload can't come out in time because there's a rolling thunder going through everything.
I also thought the rest of Shopify would, like, show up to that
where
fight.
was the
It lasted a long time.
I don't know if that's even a fight you necessarily lose if everybody's there, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have another save in the Legion Commander as well.
Like, this isn't that fast of a kill.
I mean, Saberlight's all the way down there in the bottom right corner of the map.
Abed's here, he just doesn't really go in. He's on the supports. I mean, I guess by the time the damage from Shopify shows up, it's just too late.
Yeah, and also too late that relocate, unfortunately, for Fly.
Also, that was your pipe on the Underlord, so that is like the best multi-hero skirmish time for Tundra to pull this game back a little bit on the network chart.
That's true.
It is a very strong pipe game. You're eliminating a lot of the burst damage out of Shopify between the Leshrac and the Skywrath Mage, which means you have to scale into the physical here for Shopify, which is pushing that a little later, right? And every time you make one of these moves that doesn't work, it's not that the game state becomes terrible for you, it's just that's time you could have been getting farther ahead. That's kind of what this IO Lesh does. You're farming everything as well as finding kills, it just explodes.
Yeah.
You're giving some breathing room to Tundra, especially this 9 Pangolier who is struggling immensely in this game, will now get to finish his defusal, be able to contribute more.
Yeah, and he should constantly struggle. If you get that chart in the TA, you have this duel that's going to be always a problem. Skywrath Mage silence is a bit of a mess for you.
Like, I like this early Roche. This is just super free, super fast. No reason not to do it. Put the Aegis on the Lesh and let him go to him. Or you can put it on Abed. Dessel's actually finished. So he can actually just go in too with this extra damage. That's what it looks like it's going to be. I like this. This is going to help you pick up that aggression. We talked about how much Aegis does for you in this game versus a Tundra lineup that pretty much has to play around the rupture damage to a large degree.
Sure.
I mean, damn, I'm impressed by Skeeter this game, though. This is not an easy game to be finding the openings as a carry player when you were most of the damage and you have to draw your other 2 cores back into this, right?
Yeah, and keep your net worth up this entire time.
Yep, he has done a tremendous job. 3-0 and 3, hasn't even died once. This is a very good game as an example of how to keep your team in the game as a carry player when you're forced to join those early battles, early fights. And some of them didn't even go your way, like that river battle.
Yeah.
They didn't get anything out of that. That's wasted time for Skeeter, and he's still pretty damn far.
Man, they're pulling down that net worth lead even more.
Yeah, they are. I mean, this is Tundra, right? They are the masters of stall. So if you're Shopify right now, you cannot take your foot off the gas pedal. You need to keep finding kills. You need to get to this Saberlight Blink. And that's going to be your big ticket to ramp up the aggression, ramp up the pick-off potential, especially with the reload threat behind you. Any sort of stun or latch you find in this map, even if it's just a trap, even if it's just a rundown, should convert into a kill.
Duel is not going to be one. They'll obviously get the kill, but Saberlight still not able to get that extra bit of duel damage. It's only 1-1 the entire game.
Yeah, you'll still take that for sure.
Yeah.
Every reload off cooldown that lands in a kill, that's what's going to get you ahead in this game.
I mean, especially given the fact that AUI specifically would create so much more space if you let him live, right? Like, you know he's going to push down a couple waves with his maxed out enchant like he does. And
yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. AUI has found some decent gold in this game.
Yeah, he has.
Really has, so.
Most farmed of all the supports here.
He's going to be able to maybe produce a decent aura item. You have Drum on Snay. Snay is happy to play a sacrificial 4 here. That's kind of what the Venge slots into when this early game doesn't go your way.
Yeah.
So you have Pipe, you have Drum, you have a tanky Enchantress. You have Swap to bail out a core that gets dueled and double damage on 9. Pretty decent time to try and strike back here if you're Tundra. Even with the Aegis on Shopify, you have some teamfight win potential right now if Shopify try and force the issue, which they are, and can't blame them. You got to keep building momentum in this game, especially with the blink on Saberlight. This is go time. You just got to line it up, and you got to think about this swap. You cannot try and all in a core if Snake King's in position and get put in a rough spot in terms of drag deeper into the fight.
I mean, that being said, Duel is a way in some ways to counter swap, just because you do the swap, but then you're still going to meet back together again, right?
So it's just, it's going to drag the fight very deep, and then you might be stuck in a pit, you might be stuck in a firestorm.
So close.
Whew. Tundra dodge. They're going to go through the gate, try and catch on the other side of the map. I like this play.
But they're going to run into AUI. He was guarding that area, trying to make sure that 33 gets the heads up.
Look at the build, by the way, on the edge. This is the small things Tundra do. It's 0 impetus points. It's just pure enchant and heal. So he's as tanky in the fight as possible and is good at stalling out the game with the strong level creep.
It's always annoying. IO relocate. We saw this early on in the patch when people figured out, whoa, this Wisdom Rune is really important. We saw these IOs just using relocate every 7 minutes. Steal away Wisdom Runes.
Will get dodged in return, man. There's a lot of mirroring going on in this game.
Yeah, there is.
I don't think Shopify are building the lead that they necessarily wanted from a perfect game out of that laning phase. But it's in a realm of, like, it's going pretty well, you know?
Yeah, it's not a bad game to scale up if you're Shopify, but considering the lead and momentum you had early, you would have preferred to be 5, 6, 7, 8K ahead right now.
As long as Legion is finding good net worth, I think you're happy scaling this game.
Yeah, he's doing all right in that regard.
Yeah, he's doing good enough. This is one of those heroes that scales amazingly well. Like, we look at a lot of those BB games where Pure plays Legion, right?
Yeah.
Those games, it does not ever feel like they're getting outscaled because Legion is just finding dual damage.
Of course, a big factor of that was him getting a lot of dual damage.
Yes, that is a key factor, and we're only sitting on 10 here for Saberlight. And this is kind of a ball lineup for Tundra, so I don't know how much you can expect to find the random pickoffs on the map. I'm also a little surprised that these waves are getting shoved into Shopify as much as they are right now, right? Like, you look at these, I guess it's just the edge creeps and, yeah, some random wave pushing from the Firestorm. Still, it's letting Tundra get a lot and remain in a closed position. So when you make this type of smoke, Tundra are just waiting for you. When you jump in, they're all going to be here. Well, that's a Bloodseeker illusion.
Okay, they're going to go for the Underlord. They did not get distracted by the illusion that just showed up in time. The swap was unfortunately a bit too far away. They just didn't expect him to go for 33 like that. They didn't expect the big burst.
I think Tundra were backing up the smoke there.
Yeah, that might have been it.
Like, looking at that mini-map, and 33 was maybe trying to get the lanes in so that smoke could work in conjunction. Shopify just a little too fast. And, I mean, they're fortunate the swap isn't there and everybody from Tundra isn't directly behind 33, because I think that is the type of fight that can go wrong very fast. They take full advantage of it, straight into a tier 2, straight into a Tormentor. Now you're getting some good momentum out of this game.
Yeah.
This is a really nice swing. One simple smoke, you break the game open like that. And Shard for crit. Not the one they would have wanted here with the Iolesh. We'll take it.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You want that spell life steal.
Well, you can go do your own Tormentor and just double it up, right?
That's true. Double your chances. Flip the coin once again.
Quick smoke from Tundra, trying to find something in return here. This is just a hard smoke to land. Like, it's a 5-man smoke.
It went from Tundra successfully dodging Shopify to now it feels like Shopify is just kind of like settled into, like, okay, we're in a good place in this game. We don't need to force things. And now they're dodging Tundra.
This is how Shopify prefer to play. Unless they have one of those super early high ground lineups like the Lycan SF type stuff.
Yeah,
they're fine cruising to their late game items. They always believe they're going to win the scale. Artur's sitting on a little low mana here. It's maybe the only thing they don't have right now. But do Tundra want to bite the bait? Mage Slayer for 9, trying to gain any sort of little fight advantage they can right now. It's an interesting item choice. Combine that with the pipe and some of the tank ability here, you might just be able to wear through the Leshrac mana. So I don't know if that's your only problem right now on Tundra. The physical burst is there. So that pipe that was causing you problems earlier when the Skywrath and the Lesh were the majority of your damage is not the case anymore with the Legion and TA have picked up the slack.
Yeah, I shudder to think what Skeeter's going to look like if he and the Templar Assassin get into a fight, you know?
Exactly. He's not winning that.
No. So they're going to have to find a good opening where they can build off of that thirst momentum and kill everybody else dodging away from Abed as much as possible.
You got to draw the fight out, right? Abuse the swap, abuse the pit, get some disarms from the Pangolier. And if you're Shopify, you want that dual latch to count. You want to take a big core down in that burst interval. Or at least put Tundra in a position where maybe it's Skeeter who's low and then they can't turn. Pretty happy with that outcome as well. Halberd on 33, also very important item in this game. If you can get the disarm on a Legion, on a TA when Abed blinks in, might just save your core off that initial jump. This is probably the most pivotal item for Tundra in these upcoming fights. Does he land this halberd in time? Is he the one getting dueled and he doesn't get halberd or pipe off? That's also problematic for Tundra if they can't bail him out with a swap, which it's still level 1 swap, by the way. So
yeah, that is a big problem. You really do need that higher level of swap, both for the rupture damage and to be able to get that duel further onto your side.
We saw Shiva's finished for Arator. He has found a lot of net worth in the last 10 minutes here off that single smoke gank and a double Tormentor tier 2. Maybe a second one leading into this next Roshan.
Yeah, they've built a lot off of those Tormentor shards and then I guess better map control. 8,000 net worth lead now. Where did that come from?
The double Tormentor, the smoke kill, and the tier 2.
But where did it come from, Avery?
Well,
God.
He had a drop package.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Now there's a mechanic we could introduce to Dota.
Like the
you know, a crate comes down on the Dota map and you gotta go to it and unlock it.
Yeah.
There's a couple items in there. Maybe with some stickers on it. Maybe we could sell those stickers. You can put them on it.
Valve has perked their ears up.
Now you
got an idea to sell stickers, huh?
And Tundra kind of missed their time to get that fight with the Halberd and the Mage Slayer reveal. And now Shopify got to their next set of items.
I mean,
So
if you get
you're missing some window
BKB,
here.
I feel like BKB is a better option for the Legion Commander, just because I want to see like a clean jump that you can't really mess with in any way.
He's thinking about the Sanj. Ooh, that Lincoln's.
Yeah, catching Skeeter. Even if he could stop the duel, the swap goes out. Maybe they can still chase after him, though. Pops a Manta, gets rid of the slow from the TA trap, but this is still Tundra in an awkward position.
Yeah, you don't
Even
have
if
the
they
damage.
save their Bloodseeker, without the Bloodseeker, they can't win the fight. So they will back away, only losing their 5 position or 4 position. Well, I guess 5 position in this game.
Yeah, it's definitely their 5.
Yeah.
There's no 4-position dream for Snake King. That's about as good as it's going to get for Tundra. You get a Lincoln's reveal pop on the duel. That's going to be the first ones for Sableye. Now you know, and you get your Bloodseeker out. That's just the type of fight that's never going to be bad for Shopify. If you start on the Bloodseeker, there's no way you're turning that. There's a window here for Tundra to maybe make something happen. But they don't have Rupture, man. I mean, what are you doing without Rupture here?
Well, I
think
think
you're doing
Tundra's
anything.
asking themselves the same question, but this long silence on the Pango is killing him, and that
that
split
split
earth
earth.
was even better. Artur killing Tundra. That one shot, not quite enough to finish up Skeeter. 33, slowed down quite a bit. They're going to keep chasing after him, all the way underneath
wants
the
a
tier
duel, man.
3s, perhaps? No, they back away. No need to dive like that against Avenge specifically. You don't want to be diving and then get swapped even deeper.
Just want to play around your Lesh and TA here.
Yep.
Don't want to get overzealous into a pit, into the swaps, Enchantress heals. Like right now, you have a significant damage advantage. It's just nothing coming out of this Tundra lineup right now. They need to go ultra late here. They need to stall this game. They need some AUI creeps to work their magic. I just think the next Roshan, if you're Shopify, you push high ground with that for sure. You do not let this game get dragged out. You secure your advantage. Put an Aegis either on the Lesh or the TA, and then you have one of those two go high ground with the Io and the Legion saves behind him. You do have some outspam if you're Tundra. I mean, you can swap in deep. You have level 2 swap by now. You have Firestorm. You have Pango pokes with the disarms. It's an annoying high ground. Doable, though.
Doable.
Throwable. Also.
Throwable. Yeah,
Very
Shopify
throwable.
have done that before. Don't forget the cheese. Good. You've got an IO. That's always important.
Silver Edge Robin is also a nice little pickup here. You can break that Underlord, break the Bloodseeker here. Probably the big one, right? That's going to make it so Skeeter can't even run away in some of those situations. He just loses all his MS.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's some shenanigans happening here. I don't really know what. I don't know why I expected that creep to kill the bounty rune there. My brain did.
He somehow got pulled through.
What is... I mean, I'm sure this was some creep pull off an Enchantress creep.
Yeah, it was off of the top lane. And they're just making their way to what their objective is, which of course is that tier 3 tower. On this day, creeps, we salute thee.
It was a bold move. I think you're back to the drawing board with that strategy.
All right, boys, we're going to skip past the lane, go straight to the tier 3.
What if we
Saber
just
Light.
go to the base? He's looking for AUI. I mean, he knows the tricks, right? Now, if you studied the replays of Tundra at Bala, you would know this is the exact spot that AUI hit in that game.
Yes, it was.
In upper bracket. First game in. So, back to the replay board, I guess, as AUI survives. I would say he's being threatened here, but honestly, I don't
Relocate
know if he
is going to be able to reset this fight. It does mean they could chase after some of these other heroes. Unfortunately, Crit don't really have the vision on him. And they're going to come back soon, so they can't overextend themselves. That IO Lesh, you got to get away from that relocate point.
I don't even know if you had to reroll in there.
Yeah, I know. There was no real threat, but, you know, better to be safe than sorry. They get the duel onto AUI, and another duel win for Saberlight, who did go for the Heaven's Halberd, I think, because of that Lincoln's issue earlier.
Yes. And it'll be BKB for Arkeezy, so that's going to allow him to man up kind of independent of maybe necessarily needing the tether here.
Yeah, because maybe it's better sometimes give this over to Abed just to help him get on top of these heroes better.
I mean, you're going to have a pretty fast BKB on Saberlight as well. And at that point, you don't care about the pits, you don't care about the Pangolier as much. Not going high ground with this Aegis, as that high ground defense is still there for Tundra. There is a brown dot.
Is Skater thinking about Aghanim Scepter, by the way?
What?
I mean, I just feel like at some point in time you need that longevity, and I think Blood Mist might be one of your keys to late game victory.
You definitely need it. You just need too many things right now.
Yeah.
You need armor or evasion. You need Scotty maybe. You need Abyssal. You need the Blood Mist. You need a game 3.
Well, unfortunately for Tundra, no matter what happens in this situation,
is that more skeletons?
That is more skeletons.
That's nice.
More enchant creeps, more skeletons.
This is disgusting, man.
And he's got a flag bearer creep with him.
I mean, this is the best creep you can get for this, too.
Yeah. It's buffing everybody up. And away they go, hitting a tier 2 tower.
He's got to time out before the next summon, though.
Oh, no. No, he's not. No, he's not. Close. He can do it. Keep it alive. Keep it alive.
Ooh, how good's the micro?
Can we get one more round of summons? Yeah, get one more round of skeletons to rally to push into that tier 2 tower.
Value.
Whew. Oh, and he's getting the last hit,
he's just sending it.
No, I think he's just trying to get as many last hits as possible. Oh, one skeleton. Can he get this last one? Oh, it dies.
These things are like the jankiest model in Dota.
Yeah. That's what makes him charming.
I kind of agree, yeah. I like him. He didn't get the tower, though. I think he could have got the tower if he just pushed away. A little sloppy, honestly. I think AUI has to go and watch some AUI replays.
He needs to go back and watch some TI5 replays of himself.
Yeah, I think, 2023 AUI needs to go and watch 2018 AUI and figure some things out here. It's a little lacking.
2018?
Whatever year
I
he
don't
was
think
doing
those
this.
exist. I don't think there are any replays
honestly,
of AUI in 2018.
It's every year. He has always done this. He will always do it. He will never stop. You must make him stop.
I love the fact that there is, you could still have so much personality in a player in a game like Dota because it is such an open field.
Oh, is that what you would call it?
I mean, it's an annoying personality, but it's a personality.
I think some would call it toxicity.
That's still a personality trait, just ask Reddit when it comes to Quinn.
Yeah, that's true. Now, this is your Aegis gone. You did not manage to go high ground with it, though you did continue to build a pretty decent-sized lead here, especially the net worth on the IO, man. Fly found a lot during this time period.
It lost this tier 2.
I mean, it was an inevitability, right? What are you going to do? They're mad.
They're like, all right, we got to stop this guy looking.
Are they not going to find him again? I mean, how does this happen? Why don't you, split up, send somebody up here, somebody up the triangle?
Oh, God, a wisdom
Just
rune.
stop.
Oh, my God. Nobody even thought about the wisdom rune.
Oh, he TP'd out.
I wonder what made him decide now's the time to TP out.
He must have made some call, right? They're going to make a move or smoke. Aegis is out.
Yeah.
There is still a cheese on the IO. That's the upside of these IO lineups. Even when your Aegis is gone, you basically have another one.
Oh, did you see that? That is so cool. Abed is setting traps up for himself to Psyblade when he doesn't want to get too close to the wave. He denies his TA trap to get the side. That is so cool.
I don't think I've seen that before.
Me neither.
I mean, I'm sure somebody's probably done it, but that is pretty damn cool.
First time I've seen it.
What a player.
Gotta take all those little tips and tricks. So at this point in time, Shopify, they're holding the map. Unless they manage to catch Tundra in some really big fight close to the base, we're unlikely to see them go for the high ground. They're just going to try and control the map, probably wait for our next Roshan, which gives Tundra an opportunity here. They're on a somewhat even fighting ground. Sure, they're 16,000 net worth bound, and they have a cheese on an IO, but they don't have to fight into Aegis. So if it's a really, really favorable engagement, Tundra are willing to take it. They're going to play around their vision to see if Shopify will oblige in an engagement like that. Failing that, they've always got the enchant creeps to push out lanes.
It's just AUI didn't go damage on the edge. Like, he's not scaling off this network. I mean, you have a Hurricane Pike, I guess. He went to early Solar Crest. I guess it's not too bad. He kind of got that.
Like, he'll get to damage eventually.
He's going to suck up all these Lotuses, too.
Wait. Did he lock the Lotuses in order to make it so he can grab all of them that way? That's interesting. And then he unlocked it to make the Greater. That's cool. Because normally you'd have to drop it and stuff like that, right?
I'm not gonna lie, there's too many nerdy things in this game.
Because it basically would have turned into 3 and then would have become 1, and then he wouldn't have been able to grab more. So
some of this stuff is, I start to wonder if you should be thinking about it.
Like it's distracting from the bigger picture
like
of Dota.
If I'm Tundra's coach right now, which I guess is AUI, and I'm watching AUI play, I'm like, is this what I want my players putting their headspace into, Like the fact that they're doing this stuff, I mean, I guess there's not much else to think about right now.
No, there really isn't much to think about for Tundra besides just weird little things, anything you can. I mean, there's that TA thing again.
I almost feel like he's just doing it for fun.
Yeah, I mean, he's missing a lot of CS because of his trepidation of not actually going into the creep wave, which is respecting, I guess, Tundra and their possibility that they could be making a move. They are not, I'll tell you right now. They are spread out on the sides of the map trying to find farm.
And they're not finding as much farm Shopify here as Arteezy has plowed ahead. He's finished a full damn Hex on top of that Timeless Relic, so spell damage getting mega amped here between him and the IO and the neutral item.
The scary part is you could do a lot of damage very quickly, and if you take down the primary tower defender, that becomes that much easier. A sight to be able to catch Snake King. Force forward, a Hurricane Pike pushes Snake King a little bit in danger here, but 9, oh, look at those impetuses raining in and doing absolutely nothing, but because the heal is just too much from this IO. Skeeter's here, but he can't really fight this Leshrac. It's looking real bad for him. The damage is just very lackluster. AY's getting there bit by bit. Swap back in, does manage to get 9 into the Fountain, which Arteezy and the rest of Shopify are getting very close to, despite the fact they haven't even finished up this tier 3 tower yet. And now, there is no creep wave.
You have no Rupture. You have no Swap. You have Impetuses. That's about it. Well, high ground just got instantly broken there. You get a Snake King buyback. Underlord is the best target you can bring down first because you remove all that sustained utility immediately out of the fight. Just open up the floodgates. You get another dual win as well.
He tried to pull the creep wave.
He did try and pull the creep. I saw that. Don't think I didn't see it there. I mean, damage numbers are comparable, but it's just all going into heal. Shopify is sustaining everything. There isn't any anti-healing mechanism right now for Tundra, and there's no BKB on Skeeter, so he can't just sit there and hit Arteezy. You're not winning that trade. This was a Shiva's Underlord, by the way. I mean, this is about as tanky as 33 is going to get for a while. Woo! Here's some cinematics for you. They bring down the big slug. Quick Smoke going to try and find something. It's getting desperate. Definitely not out of this game. You got to start finding a core killer if you want to contest the next Roshan for sure. And again, you have to put Skeeter in a position where he's getting powered up so that he can actually go in and man fight some of these cores, which has been the problem for a lot of this game.
Tundra are not going to find a pickoff here. Shopify have been very, very conservative when it comes to how they play the map because they don't want to give Tundra that opportunity of a free pick.
And they have buybacks on Radiant side Roche.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Even if you get the slash once, you're going to have to get him twice.
Arteezy posing a threat here. AUI will send a message.
Good poke.
With rainbow-colored impetuses running at Arteezy.
I'm surprised 9 got to that. It is some extra damage and slow.
Yeah, it makes himself a lot tankier if he blinks in, hits a good shield crash.
gonna send the Harpy in.
Might be able to get some information off these illusions. Underlord coming in through the side, trying to check something out, but they immediately find an opportunity to get on top of AUI 2000. Arteezy charging forward with that Bloodstone. Pops BKB, Split Earth goes out, and they do manage to get the swap back, getting Skeeter out of danger, but this is definitely a lost fight. It's just a question of how many heroes are going to get caught in this one. It looks like it's going to be 9 up, 33. He's going to die as well. Skeeter's the only one who can get out alive on the side of Tundra. Shopify win the fight and will take Roshan.
And we see what 33's pinging here. It's the supports. He's basically saying if we can't kill the supports, guys, we're never going to win the fight, because there is no option to man fight Arteezy and Abed on the front line. I think he's absolutely correct. I just don't know how you get there. Your lineup is not really designed to kill the backline first unless you were just steamrolling this game. The early laning phase from Shopify has paid dividends here as they control the map, control the kill tempo, shut down Tundra to 7 kills, and now push this lead to almost 30,000 gold.
Now, this is going to be a weird bit of dyssynergy. Looks like Aghanim Scepter is going to be consumed by Arteezy, so got to be careful of how he uses that. Breaks the Lincolns with the Heaven's Halberd, gets the duel, allowing the relocate to come in, and they've got the chain stuns thanks to the scythe to follow it up. So
very clean.
Very good pickup, and that is very likely going to prompt Tundra into a buyback once they have the Underlord back into play. Though I guess it depends on what kind of lane shenanigans Tundra can pull off.
Keep pulling lane chain. I mean, there is some creep push on top here. It's just a wave will eventually come in for Sean.
There he goes. The Alpha Wolf leading the charge, but of course Shopify had the wave pushed in mid, and they could take those lanes of barracks and then turn it into top.
That is a whole
perhaps.
TP.
33 trying to make himself a target, perhaps. They're going to blink backwards, but Arteezy moves forward.
Okay,
and they immediately pull the IO out of a bad position. That means he's going to die. Arteezy is going to be brought in deep next to the tier 4 towers. Might be able to finish off 33 though, but he's being kited around. This is quite bad. Meanwhile, Saberlight and Crit are trying to deal with Skeeter right now. Wants to be able to pick off these supports. Pops Mantic gets that kill right before the duel can come in, but the duel is going to be lost. The blade mail is too much to handle with Abed doing so much, and this is going to be the first life of Arteezy as he freely gifts it away to AUI 2000. After all, there are no more buybacks on the side of Tundra, so this fight has already been won. And I think Arteezy knows the game is over. Indeed it is. Tundra will call it for this game 2. Shopify will right the ship a little bit here, looking a lot better, a change of pace in both their draft and ideas.
Yeah, some flexibility as well.
Yeah.
End up working really well on the lanes, and then they just power into a really nice IO Lesh game. I think the safe lane Lesh is a little slower because you have to get the levels elsewhere, whereas the mid Lesh has a lot more solo XP.
Yep.
They get it done, though. They find some good relocation kills off of some duels that was helping create some map pressure to help counteract what Tundra wanted to do with the lane shove. That was a big problem in game 1. There are a lot of little things that work better for them this game around. They also have more damage to play through Abed, who had a much better early game, and just, I mean, him and Artur were out to the races on top of that net worth chart. So much EHP to try and fight through here. I didn't really like this counter IO Lesh idea. I think it's interesting to try here for Tundra. I don't know if they're too sad about the game. They gave IO Lesh and they tried some answers to it in terms of like the swap. I just think they ended up in a weird position where you last pick Underlord into IO Lesh, and that is a double-edged sword. Because while Underlord can build pipe, he can give you some zone control, Underlord typically thrives by abusing atrophy aura against the physical carries, and IO Lesh do not give a damn about that. And the second they are stronger than you, they can run in. You get this BKB on Lesh especially. He doesn't care about anything your Underlord is doing in this game. It's hard for 33 to drag the team fights back, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are you stalling for in these engagements?
Similarly, I do have the question, like, Shopify, how good are they going to be feeling off a win off of IO Lesh rank, which is a combo they've run quite a lot.
Yeah, IO Lesh has been very dominant this tournament so far.
Yes.
The Lesh without the IO has not been dominant. So that's something you have to think about as you go into these later matches. What do you believe in, and how are you going to use it?
Let's head to the stage. We've got Tsunami up there with Arteezy.
Thank you very much. I'm standing by with Arteezy of Shopify Rebellion, which you yourself said it, and I was thinking it's been a while since I've had an opportunity to do this on a stage. How's it feeling to be back here since, I guess, Lima?
Well, it would have been nice to be in like a playoff setting and then doing this, but you know, we'll take it. It's a group stage win at the end of the day, but yeah, it's been a while since I've been here doing an interview.
But you've been a stage player in general. I imagine this kind of environment makes you feel at home.
Absolutely. It hasn't been like a long time since I've been able to play a lot of games on stage, you know, but you know, we're working towards it. Still working.
زي ما شفنا اعزائنا المشاهدين معنا ارتيزي من فريق شوبيفاي ريبليون. كنا نتكلم عن انه هو قبل شوي كان يقول لنا لي فتره طويله ما كنت على مسرح واقدر اسوي مقابله واني العب جيم اصلا على المسرح. يقول هذا الشيء اللي انا متعود عليه وهذا الشيء اللي انا دائما اني افضله. وبالعكس احنا الفتره هذه ممكن ما لعبنا لانات كثيره لكن نحاول ان نكثر من الشيء هذا وقريبا ان شاء الله بنقدر اننا ننافس كل الابطال العالميين.
So now that I have a chance to pick your brain a little bit, I'm wondering 7.33 drops, a lot changes. For you specifically, BKB changed a lot. I'm curious how you feel about BKB and the current state of the patch.
I thought the most annoying change, it was not the BKB, it was like how they changed how magic resistance is calculated, like the effect of a pipe or something, or like how over the game when you get more int, you get more magic resist, and then that scales in such a like, I just feel it's not very balanced, so I didn't think the BKB was also necessary to be nerfed at the same time. I think like there are a lot of things that need more fine-tuning. I think there has been a lot of progress towards that, but I still think magic resistance in general is just like in a weird spot right now.
زي ما شفنا اعزائنا المشاهدين سالنا ارتيزي سؤال عن ايتم البي كي بي بعد التغير الاخير اللي صار فيه في الباتش، هل هو مع او ضد التغير هذا؟ بكل بساطه كان يقول انه اساسا الماجيك ريزيست بعد ما تغير طريقه حسابه الشيء هذا انا ما عاد صرت افضله، وزياده على كذا صار بعد النرف حق البي كي بي فشيئين صار لهم نرف يعتمدون على الماجيك ريزيست. الشيء هذا ضر مره في البالانس حق اللعبه والشيء هذا ما هو شيء يفضله ابدا.
And how about all the other objectives? Lotus, Wisdom, Tormentor. You a fan or not so much?
You know, when the patch came out, I thought the gates were really stupid. I will say that my mind has changed. I think the gates are like, they've added a unique part and they changed the game. Like, and that's probably at first why I didn't like the change, because that's usually how it works. You know, they introduce such a big concept and it takes a lot of time to get used to it. So I thought the gates were annoying at first. But I still, like, I really hate this Tormentor thing. I find it so, like, weird, like, that it exists. Like, it's, I don't know. I still can't figure out, like, if it's ever worth it to kill it or not.
What a carry player thing to say, that you don't know if it's worth killing the Tormentor.
I mean, I feel like the only time I really want to do it is if I'm TA or something, and it's only for 250 gold. It's like, that's the only reason.
زي ما تشوفون اعزائي المشاهدين سالنا ارتيزي سؤال بسيط انه بعد ما شفنا الاوبجكتيفز الجديده اللي دخلت اللعبه مع الباتش الاخير زي الويزدم، اللوتس وايضا التورمنتر، هل الشيء هذا يعني هو مع او ضد التغير هذا ايضا؟ لكن كان جوابه انه اول شيء الجيت بالبدايه ما كان ابدا مع التغير هذا لانه غير طريقه اللعبه وهو ما صارت هي دوتا اللي هو يعرفها، لكن بنفس الوقت مع الوقت بدا يحب الشيء هذا، لكن التورمنتر بالذات جدا يكرهه وهو ما يدري اذا انا لازم اني اقتل التورمنتر ولا اني اخليه لانه ما يستاهل اصلا.
Last question. Sure, it's just group stage right now, but if we get the opportunity to bring you back here, any team that you want to face in the playoffs especially?
I think Bet Boom is like, it's a fun match because we used to be on the team together, me and Igor, obviously, and the rest of us. So I find it always exciting to play against them. So yeah, I would probably say Bet Boom or Liquid. You know, I'll dodge Quinn until the end, hopefully, you know what I'm saying? So.
زي ما تشوفون ايضا سالنا ارتيزي اخر سؤال معنا في المقابله نتكلم عن مين الفرق اللي ممكن انك حابب انك تنافسهم في الجروب ستيج. كان يتكلم عن بي تيم انه ما يفضل ابدا انه او يفضل جدا انه يواجههم صراحه، خصوصا انهم الان ما خسروا ولا مباراه، لكن بنفس الوقت ايضا انه يحب انه يلعب ضد التيميت السابق حقه انه بيقدر انه ينافسه دائما. هو متى ما نافسه تكون المباريات جدا جدا ممتعه، لكن بنفس الوقت في تيم يحاول انه يتجنبه قد ما يقدر. وزي ما سمعتوا انتم مين اسم اللاعب.
It was a 1-1 split, but thank you so much for joining me for an interview. Always a pleasure to see you on stage.
Thanks for having me.
يعطيكم العافيه اعزائي المشاهدين، جاء الوقت الان اننا نروح على طول للاستديو نتكلم اكثر عن وش صار في المباراه.
See you back at the studio.
Thank you very much to Tsunami, Arteezy, and of course Fancy on the stage. And yeah, they will have to play a little bit longer if they want to make it to the playoffs against BB Team. And because yesterday they already had their shot against BB Team. They did not take it, but this one looked a lot better for Shopify Rebellion as they were able to tie the series against Tundra and end in a 1-1. Much needed points for both squads that were sitting at the bottom of the Group B score thus far. We'll break this game down though here on the panel. I'm joined by Purge, Lacoste and Fear. And Purge, this game It was a lot stronger for Shopify. This was definitely the mental win that they needed.
It was, yeah. Two of their lanes went really good. The mid lane and the safe lane. They swapped those in the draft with their last pick TA, and it really gave them a big advantage. So I think they did a nicer job in the draft this game for sure.
A nicer job in the draft. Fear, you said earlier, mental win important. And this was not just a mental win, though. I feel like they also had their gameplay was on point. They felt so comfortable in the game.
Yeah, I really love the swap that they made. And Arteezy, he was active. He was godlike. He was beyond godlike at one point on the Celestrack. And this is something we haven't seen a lot of from him throughout these LAN tournaments. And it's mainly just from their playstyle. It stems down to he's normally the one farming. He's not enjoying the fights too often, but when he's put onto the Celestrack, he's forced to go and fight all the time and make the stuff happen.
Yeah, every single time, you know, we're getting closer to TI, these big tournaments coming up as well. IO's gonna pop up. Like IO Lash, these combination, so far this seems to be the pick of the tournament. Try to figure out how to beat it. And IO, like he gets some of these like buffs that you don't think about them, because there's a flag bearer creep, tower HP regeneration, especially if you're playing the safe lane, lotuses that you pick up. So all these things are indirect buffs to IO, which make him super strong again.
Yeah, super strong on the IO, especially with the Lash combination. Maybe we'll see some AA sometime. There wasn't the game for it, though, as we pointed it out during the draft. Tundra, unfortunately, falling short here and not getting the win there in the second game, but that was mostly credit due to Shopify. In particular, Purge. Was it mostly due to a certain Templar Assassin?
That's what I think. I have some clips for you guys I'd love to show you.
Yes,
Templar Assassin was the last pick of the draft, and he ended up going in the mid lane. And the reason that it works so good, remember Pango was one of the first picked heroes, you just hit him with the Meld Strike. He's a melee hero. That means that every attempt that he tries to trade or even go for last hits, you get Meld Striked and you get hit a bunch of times. Lowers your armor by 4, I believe, at level 1, which means that 9 pretty much only feels comfortable moving up if he can go use his spells to get a last hit. But that's like not enough. That means you're going to get behind in last hits. He comes back forward again when the first Meld Strike debuff has gone away, but this leads to just so much damage against him here. In fact, he gets a third Meld Strike shortly after this, which ends up getting him pretty low, and then we'll move a little bit forward. There's yet another one as he comes for another creep, trying to get a little bit more. This is where he almost died. He burned his Fairy Fire right here. That was the start of the game. That was 1 minute and 13 seconds or something like that. Going for our last hit, gets Meld Strike, has a bad time. We'll jump to a further point. Here he is 5 minutes into the game. His last hits are 18 versus TA's 36 and 13. He's got 0 denies, by the way, so kind of in struggle territory here. And then Skywrath also comes, just really rubbing it in here. So he dies. Then once again, a little pressure comes. Nine's like, hey, he left the lane, I can get last hits. And then he loses almost all of his HP here. Almost all of it. He survives, but like his bottle's empty. It's a really bad time. Snake King comes ahead, gotta get rid of these traps, help the team out. This is his vision here. He's like, oh no, TA's running me. Nah, it's actually just 4 heroes. They kill him, and then they take the mid tier 1 tower immediately afterwards, which means no more space for Pangolier. And he's like, oh, I'll just swash this lane really quick and everything's gonna be fine. And then TA comes, and the supports come, and he dies. That's not the last death he's got. This 10 minutes, 50 seconds in. Look at this pressure. What can he do? He didn't get to play the game. He's so far behind.
Did not get to play the game. And we said at the start of the series, you know, we highlighted Abed as the tempo setter for the game. That's the type of Abed we're talking about at that point, right?
Pretty much. And they also, like, because of the switcheroo that they did, safe lane Leshrac, Templar Assassin on the mid lane. Templar Assassin gets level priority. Thing that we don't see too often. You know, from time to time you'll see someone pick up a mid TA because of the matchup, but I think the way they swapped it, it benefited both of these lanes, so it made a lot of sense.
Made a lot of sense. We also chose for our STC play analysis a fight that it did not go so well for Tundra in particular, even though at that point of the game, I don't know, they should have done a little bit more of it. It was about 16 minutes into the game when this happened.
Well, this was the one play that Tundra had things going for them, actually, and this is where Arteezy goes in. He feels like he's strong. He has the eye with him. He has the Bloodstone available. What they don't have with him, though, is a Legion Commander farming in the bottom lane here. So Tundra did have the instinctive capability here to find this play, and this is the one of 2 deaths that they did find on Arteezy, kind of showing off the power of the Underlord here, having that global presence against the IO, kind of using it against them. At this point, you thought maybe Tundra had a shot here. It looked pretty good for them, but unfortunately, in the end, they re-rallied here on Rebellion, and they were able to get the win.
They probably would need to find a couple more of those type of fights in order to...
Quite a few more, yeah.
Quite a few more. Oh, well, that's what happens when the early game doesn't go too well, and Shopify Rebellion is able to build upon their lead. And I think for a Quidja MVP, Lacoste, it's no surprise for that one.
Yeah, definitely Abed. I mean, he popped off, got those solo levels because he was playing from the mid lane, was super aggressive, going for these pickoffs, going for these solo kills, very dominant in the laning stage. And we talked about him. If Abed's having a good game, most of the time you'll see Shopify Rebellion like just on his wings, also getting that dub. But this is also a very important win for them because, and also just think about comfort heroes that they played. These are 4 out of 5 same heroes that they managed to get the win against DSM, so they kind of fall back to what they know the best. It seems like this is the winning formula for them, where they don't rely on any cooldowns. They can run at the enemies, and so far it's working out. Seems like that's going to be the story for Shopify.
Yeah, this is the second win they have. Purge, are we a little worried that both wins are very similar in terms of draft and therefore maybe fairly easily countered?
I mean, they're going to be able to get the IO Lesh pairing in some other game. That's not unexpected. No one's going to take Lesh to steal the combo. But are they going to get Skywrath Mage afterwards? Probably not, because that combo really does help things out a lot. I mean, even just ganking to the lane where the Lesh is and amplifying his damage by like 30% for a couple seconds is really impactful. Lacoste, you made a comment about comfort, and on the other side, Tundra didn't really have as much comfort this game. They played a different offlaner.
Yeah.
They played Venge 4, and the other cool thing about that lane swap, it wasn't like a Venge versus a melee hero. It was Venge versus Io and another ranged hero. So he didn't even get to like play his game either. It was definitely Tundra on the back foot this game.
Tundra on the back foot, and unfortunately for them, I mean, how much of this was just a draft and how much of this was maybe fear getting accustomed to playing with AY again instead of Saxa?
I think a lot of it does come down to that Underlord pick we've seen 2 Underlord picks pretty late in the draft now, neither of them having much success. I feel like this hero used to be the king of 7.33, has received a lot of nerfs, and he's been played a lot. People understand how it works. It's just not working as well. Didn't have as much impact as we were hoping as well. So a lot of it to me was the draft. You know, you're playing versus IO Lesh, you're opening up with 2 cores trying to counter it. It just didn't work out. It was a good attempt, but you know, back to the drawing board.
Yeah, well, it was the overall last pick, Underlord, not working out for Tundra, but it happens. There's a lot more games coming their way. Tundra is going to face Aster later today. Shopify Rebellion is going to face Team Liquid later today. And speaking of, we could take a look at maybe the scores of every series happening at the moment, because well, there's 4 games going on at the same time. We love all the Dota here, and I do feel like we need to give a little bit of an update of what's been happening, because Group B has still got one team that is undefeated. There was a 2-0 BB team taking down Team Liquid. Aster and Talon ended up tying, and Team Secret getting their first 2 wins, Purge, on the board with a 2-0.
Yeah, good for them. Definitely much needed. They're 33 in a 25-minute game, so it's like they primal beasted both times, so it's much needed wins there. A little surprised that Liquid didn't manage to get 1 game, but it's just further solidifying how good BB team is.
Yeah. And also we watched Team Secret yesterday play against both Aster and Talon, so I think you know, we had some expectations of Team Secret, but we said that they're gonna get some dubs today, and they're doing so much better, because a lot of those games were relatively close. You know, they managed to drag some of these games to like 50, even 60 minutes. In the games that looked very over. So yeah, Team Secret stepping it up this time.
Yeah, I will say that Team Secret later on today, of course, everybody has 2 matches per day. Team Secret today at TSM on one side, and later today they fight BB team, which might be a little bit of you know, a shock for them to face them, and we'll see how that goes. If all their lessons can be put into play, perhaps they're the key to figuring out BB team. We'll know, of course, by the end of the day. While all these games are going on, a lot of players hopefully have time to relax in the wonderful player lounge, where our on-site reporter has been trying to catch glimpses of all these illustrious players.